I can hear you great.
Beautiful. Yeah, we're all up. Job done. How you doing, man?
Happy days. I'm spot on. A bit tired, but how are you?
I'm good, mate. What were you doing? What the hell made you go and run to the top of that mountain?
I didn't make it to the top either, which was annoying. I haven't ran that far ever. I don't even run. One of my friends did it a week ago, and I thought, do you know what? I quite fancy that.
Yeah.
And I just messaged him saying, like, would you do it again with me? And he said, yeah. So I got to the bungalow just where Joey's memorial is, and I was just knackered, so I had to stop.
I was like,
just trying to
8 point something miles, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty chuffed, to be honest.
A good effort, man. I couldn't run to the bottom of my stairs at the moment. Jesus.
Yeah, well, that was it. Because I mean, as lockdown's been, I've just been, casually tucking my way through crates of beer and, pizzas and all this stuff. So I put like a stone on, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to sort this out and get it shifted. So
good effort.
I thought I'd just run up a mountain.
As you do, mate. As you do.
As you do.
Awesome. Right, I tell you what. Are you recording at your end?
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah. Red light's on.
I will sync up mine. Could you do me a favour and just do the old clap as well, so I sync up with my audio?
Aye.
Perfect. I love working with people that know what they're doing. Brilliant. So how's it going? Everything okay?
Mega. Yeah, everything's mega, to be fair. Really good. How about yourself?
Mate, it's a bit weird, really, with all the chaos and mayhem going on outside. Like, life is just trundling on as normal here. It's like, well, you know what it's like being like a video editor. You spend your life inside anyway, don't you, when you're not filming?
Yeah.
So there's not really been any difference for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Curtains closed, windows shut.
Yeah.
Vampires we are.
Absolutely. I've got blackout curtains here across my windows, and I'm just stuck in my little corner shoebox office that I've got in the house, and I just live in that.
Get in there.
Yeah, cool.
Literally on Monday, I moved back to my office. I moved everything home for lockdown.
Yeah.
So Monday I came in and got all my stuff moved back in, and this room's at the very top of the building, and it's chucking it down now, so I can only have the windows open a bit, but it is so warm in here.
Yeah.
It's roasting, so...
I've got great big light, studio light there, and it just cooks me. I mean, I'm a fat I'm a fat lad, so I sweat anyway. But jeez, I've got that next to me. So, for refreshments, shall we start reviewing to go on? What have you got?
I've already got one. I've got a brew dog to start.
We're not sponsored, people, but look, happy days. Actually, Brewdog, I have tagged you in, by the way, so I want you on here for a chat.
Hook it up. I've got a selection, actually. I don't think I'll get through them all, but... Because I told my wife I drove here, and I'm like, you might have to pick me up, if that's all right. But I've got a Goose IPA. And then, obviously, being a Manxie, I've got Oakles, and I've got Bushies.
Bosh, job done.
So, sorted, aren't we?
We're going to get paralytic at this rate. I had, I don't know if you've seen it, but I had an expat guy that lives in Germany on here called the Likeable Rider. He's a British motovlogger that lives over there. By God, he's an ex-squaddy, and by God, can that boy drink. He was about 3-1 with me. And by the end of it, we were minging. Absolutely
minging. I love that.
It was a giggle. So, Slangs, cheers. Thanks very much for coming on.
Cheers. Oh, honestly, it's a pleasure.
Right.
You don't mind my little man Remy being here, do you?
Not at all. How you doing, Remy?
He's all good, aren't you? Hey, happy boy.
Good lad. Folks, this is Dario Leonetti. You will probably know Dario as the video guy in Races to Places, the Lyndon Poskitt YouTube series, when he did the Dakar and all this different stuff. So... this is Dario. I love his work. I love what he does. And I reached out on Instagram, and thankfully you said yes. And here we are.
Oh, honestly, I couldn't believe you wanted me on. I've never done anything like this. I'm not used to being this side of the camera, so...
Yeah.
But when you messaged me, I was absolutely buzzing. Like, oh, I'd love to do that.
Oh, definitely, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm chuffed you agreed to come on. Right, well, obviously... There's loads of questions across all the different social platforms and stuff, but I think to start off with, I'll put the ball in your court. And Dario, tell people a little bit about yourself. What's your name? Where'd you come from?
My name's Dario. I was born on the Isle of Man. I'm half Italian and half Manx. 30 years old. Recently became a father 9 weeks ago to a little girl. I don't know. And I make videos. Really, I'm a creative as a profession. Hey boy.
Right. So first,
that's me.
First off, how are you finding fatherhood?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good, to be fair. Everyone's like, oh, get a puppy. It's great. It's great practice. It's not.
No. There's nothing like it,
great.
is there?
It's just mega. But yeah, when she came along, in fairness, the more that I'm talking to other mates and stuff that we've met having kids at the same time, the more I'm realising that Hallie, my little girl, she's a dream. She's sleeping. I mean, I don't want to like jinx it, keep touching wood, but 7 hours a night she's sleeping.
Seriously?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, so she has her last feed at like 11 and she sleeps through to like 6, half 6.
Dude, I hate you. My son didn't sleep for about he didn't sleep and he didn't eat for about the first 2 years of his life.
Oh my God.
Nightmare.
I've heard all this stuff happening, so there's me whinging, like, oh, it's so difficult, but really, I think I've got it quite good, so...
Yeah, it's unlike anything else I think out there. It's awesome. My boy's 22 now, and I mean, it's just mental. He's older than I was when he came along, you know, and it's just like,
oh wow,
bloody hell, it's crazy. I look at him and just,
that's a great age, that.
Yeah, isn't it? You know, you remember what it was like. Well, it was bloody hard at that point because I'd just become a dad. I was 21 when I became a dad, but I remember my 20s, and it was, you know, it's such a great time, isn't it? It's like before you sort of really become an adult into your late 20s and into your 30s, eh? And then
you start earning money at a job, but you don't really have anything important to spend the money on, so you just piss it up the wall, do whatever. It's good.
Yeah, good times. Good times. Right, so you live on the Isle of Man.
I do, yeah.
Have you been there the whole time, or did you move off, or?
Nope, born here. My mum's from here. My dad is from Naples in Italy. He came over when he was 3. So I've always been here, and I am incredibly proud to say that I'm from here. I love it. Yeah. It's an amazing place. I know you've been yourself.
Once, yeah, I've been once. Yeah, loved it.
So you I mean, you have to come back. Oh, were you saying that you were going to come back this year?
I was supposed to be there. I was supposed to be there with my mate Fulch for the TT this year, but obviously that's not happening. But we've rebooked and we've got the ferries and everything all rebooked, so I am there next year, mate, for the TT.
Oh, mate.
I think we've got
some beers, let me tell you.
Absolutely. I think we've got 3 weeks there. We're in I can't remember the name of the campsite. We're in some campsite. I can't remember where it is.
Whereabouts is it?
I don't know. I have nothing to do with this other than I said I'll go and I'll put some money up, and that's it. My mate Fulch organised everything. So
mega. Well, shout me when you're over and we'll hook up for sure.
Mate, definitely, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
So, how does somebody from the Isle of Man? How do you get into like video creation, content creation, and then get aligned with Lyndon and end up going to the Dakar and filming the Dakar and all these amazing races?
So ever since I was quite little, I had like a real crap camera back then. It was like, potato quality, but I could make videos on it. It was like the first time those CF card cameras come out, so I got one off eBay, and I just made videos of me skateboarding with my friends and jumping my bike and running, jumping into bushes and just being a young kid. And I've always liked video. I've always been making videos. Went to college, did like an art degree, discovered graphics, Photoshop, Illustrator, went on to Sheffield Hallam University, which is where I then sort of dipped my toe in animation. And then from there I came home, and there's a post-production house on the island called Greenlight Television,
right? And
they do the TT. They basically do motorsport all over the world. And for the summers during university, I was pestering them, like, can I come in? I'll make cups of tea, I just want to come in and help and all that. And I think they just sort of saw something in me that they liked and put me down, when I was finishing uni. And I finished in 2012, came home for a month, and I had a job there. I didn't even write a CV.
Wow.
So I literally fell straight into it. And it was baptism of fire, because I've been making videos, to show me friends and put on YouTube. And then I was in broadcast television, so I had to learn quickly that there's a lot more to it than just putting clips together, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And from there, it's just led me on to here, basically. All very natural stuff's just happened. I've not tried to direct anything. It's just all sort of fell into place.
Meant to be, mate. Meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you find is the major difference then between doing stuff for for social platforms like YouTube and then that step up to broadcast quality? What's the major difference, do you think?
I'd say if you're doing something for YouTube, there's no legalities that you've got to hit. You can put anything on YouTube, regardless of how good the quality of the video is or how the audio sounds. Whereas television, there's literally, if it's slightly too overexposed or your audio's too loud, it'll get rejected.
Wow.
And you're working with deadlines. If you're filming something at the weekend, like a motocross race, on the Sunday, and on Wednesday it's being sent to the broadcast house, it has to be right straight away, because you don't have time to go in and fix stuff.
Jesus. So
you make the video and then you comb through it from the beginning again, make sure all your audio is correct, all of your shots are exposed correctly, your colours match. So I'd say just all of that stuff that dresses around the video, there's a lot more of that to it, and you have less time as well, so it's a little bit stressful. Once you get, you do it for a little while, it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the time scales is probably my biggest, that and lack of any creative ability, but I'd say time scales probably my biggest Achilles heel, because I take so long to create a vid. I filmed a vid on Tuesday, which is going live tomorrow, and I've literally spent, I was up till sort of 2:30 Tuesday night, 2:30 this morning, and that's starting at about 8:30, 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just managed to get it uploaded before we started now, so my Patreon lot could see it before it goes live.
I feel your pain.
I know
how it is.
That's a 30-minute YouTube vid, and you're like, how do you...
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you did that stuff for the
honest,
Dakar in a Jeep. I don't know how you did that.
There's basically there's no, you have no choice but to do it. And it's amazing how when you at 4 o'clock every day, there's the TV truck at whatever bivouac you're at. Your video needs to be on the USB given to the guy, otherwise you miss it.
Jeez.
And in fairness, I missed one because I was just too late that day, and another one we missed because the bivouac was closed, which was out of anyone's control. So there was 2 days I missed the transmission time.
Right.
But when you've got a deadline and a time, it's amazing how you can just literally start setting fire to the keyboard, bashing keys and getting it done. But yeah, it's not exactly a nice experience. It's stressful. But then when you hit the deadline, you post it and it's done. It's an awesome feeling.
It's that sort of, it's like an endorphin rush. You get it just on YouTube when you hit upload and publish. Excuse me.
Yeah,
there's just this weird rush you get from it. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, you've created something from scratch, and everyone's watching it, and then you get some nice feedback, and it's just it's a good feeling. I know what you're talking about there. Yeah. It's lovely, especially when people are enjoying what you make.
I mean, there's going to be loads of questions, I know, but I mean, we're just having a wee chat just now anyway, so we'll probably cover some of this again. But talking about feedback, do you get much hate? Do you get much sort of troll action?
No, I'd say the majority of the constructive criticism, let's call it, that I get in the comments is always about music. I don't like the music track. Don't like, and it's never really anything else apart from people's opinions on music, and obviously that's a very hard thing to keep everyone happy, so I always just try and pick something that suits the particular mood or whatever's happening. But apart from that, no, I've not really seen anything too negative anyway.
I've been very lucky as well. I got a little bit initially because I used what's it called, Reddit. You know Reddit?
Yeah, I like Reddit. Yeah.
I ventured onto Reddit, and oh my god, I was ready to kill. So I thought, right, I need to come off that. And then music. That's probably the biggest amount of criticism I get is music and people not liking the jump cuts, because my style is pretty much all jump cuts. That's just my way of doing it.
That's it. There's a lot of tastes and a lot of opinions, and you can't please everyone at the end of the day. So you have to just do what you like to do, because at the end of the day, it's your art. So
that's it, and you attract your little community, don't you, around
exactly.
that?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I've just quickly got to close this window because there's rain coming in.
No worries.
1 second. I just heard it tapping away there.
You could hear the seagulls calling as well in the background. Sounds lovely.
God, they're massive over here, like rugby balls, the seagulls.
Right, how about we crack on and start doing some questions, and we just see where it takes us, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Right, first off, folks, we're going to go to Patreon for all the clans folk. If you haven't checked that out yet, I'll mention it now. Patreon.com/TeapotOne. First off, Martin Beresford. My question is, did Dario get motion sickness trying to edit whilst driving the Dakar? And if so, how did you deal with it?
Oh my God. It is. There's some days, depending what route you are and where you are, what country it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes the roads are quite pleasant, and like certainly in Peru down the coast there, they were all really smooth. So I was happily just tapping away. If I ever get a text message and I'm sat in a car, like as a passenger, and I look down for 2 seconds, I get sick.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'd make a terrible co-driver. I always have to be in control, looking ahead. But now I've got this laptop, and in fairness, it's on like a platform sort of raised up, so my eye line's ahead. But as soon as you get onto those bumpy roads, your eyes start rolling in your head, your teeth are falling out, everything's just gross. So it gets to a point where you're about to be sick, and you just have to pull over and get a bit of fresh air.
Yeah, it gets that bad.
Yeah. And I normally try and, so the way it works is wake up in the morning, I'd film Lyndon getting ready, getting his kit on, bit of breakfast, off he goes onto the stage. He goes and does it, the GoPro footage comes in, film him arriving back at the bivouac, how's it go, how was your day, da-da-da. I'd then do as much as I can with that footage before I went to sleep, so I'd end up staying up later, so I had less to do in the car, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, got you.
And I'd end up sleeping in the car, which was annoying because there's so much stunning scenery that I slept through, especially in Argentina. And Uncle Rick, who was driving us, he'd elbow me because I said, "Wake me up, there's something mega."
Yeah.
And but I just couldn't help it. That was the best way for me because I got such bad motion sickness.
God, I bet.
And for me, there was no way to steer around it. That's just how it was.
I remember watching some of the clips when you were suffering, and is it Rick was taking the mick out of you?
Uncle Rick, yeah.
And I mean, I used to watch it commuting in and out of London on the train, and I used to, because it was perfect length of an episode. Really, I could maybe get 1 or 2 in on the way in.
10 minutes or something, weren't they?
Yeah, and I started to get motion sickness just looking at you in that Jeep getting jostled about, and I was like, oh my god, this must be to edit when that's going on. That's horrific. So, like, do you ride as well, don't you?
So, at Dakar.
Yeah.
That was like the moment that was like, you have to get a bike. And I've worked in motorsport since 2013. I used to film the World Endurance Championship. So all the World Enduro, for 2 years I produced that show. And I'm around with the best riders in the world. Obviously on the Isle of Man, you've got the best of the best, David Knight, the McCanny brothers. And I've just never ever put my leg over a bike. I've always done drifting.
All right.
Always had cars.
Yeah.
And I've always done drifting and all that stuff. And being away with Lyndon, and I don't know what happened, just sparked something. I'm like, when I get back home, I'm going to buy a bike. And I've been riding for 2 years now, and it is the best thing I've ever done. I'm gutted that it's taken me, it was 28 when I started.
Yeah.
That it's taken me 28 years to do it.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of catching up to do, but I love it. I go to bed at night and I can't sleep because I'm thinking about it. It's
mega,
really,
isn't it?
it's got me big time. Oh yeah, for sure.
I was the same as you. I was late to the party. I was 32. Yeah, 32, 33 when I passed my test, and yeah. So part of me's glad that I waited till I was a bit older to do it, because I mean, I've nearly killed myself umpteen times already, but I'm pretty sure if I'd done it in like my late teens, early 20s, I wouldn't be here anymore. Nah, no way.
So again, like we were saying, meant to be these things.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, are you going to be doing any travelling yourself then on two wheels?
So Andy, one of my best pals, who I work with, he came to do the Africa Eco Race.
Yep.
And I said to him when we were sat in the car one day, and I'm like, dude, do you like fancy doing this one day? Like, and he was like, I never thought I would, but I do. Oh, mate. So I'd say in like 10 years' time or something, because I want another kid. So when hopefully, all going well, if I've got two, and they're of an age where I can go for, probably can't go for too long, but 3 weeks or something, or 4 weeks, I'd love to.
Yeah.
It's very appealing to me, and I promise myself that I will do it for sure.
Oh mate, what?
So, and I've got the likes of Lyndon and that who I can ask, where should I go? How do I do it? So I'm definitely going to do it one day.
Mate, with your sort of skill level and creativity, the sort of content you could produce on a trip like that would just be mega. It's probably. Yeah. I don't like to have regrets in life, but I wish I could redo my world trip with the sort of limited ability I've got now, because I look at my World Series, and you look at it with a critical eye, don't you? You just look and you think, oh Jesus, why didn't you do this, do that, and the sound's crap and the picture's crap, and I would just love to be able to go back and redo everything, but I suppose that just adds to the rawness of it.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I don't know anyone in the creative industry that wakes up the next day and likes what they did the previous day. Yeah. It's horrendous. I'll sit there, edit a load of photos the next day, come in and be like, what was I on last night? These are horrendous.
Oh, I'm glad it's not me. Them all? Yeah.
So nothing's ever perfect, and nothing's ever finished with what we do. Yeah. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you've got your own business, haven't you? Is it Bloom Creative?
Yeah, 5 years in August it'll be. Self-employed. Wow. Which has gone very quick, actually.
Do you specialise in sort of the motor industry, or is there any particular niche that you deal with?
It's one of those, if I could sit there and choose what I'd do, it'd be motorsport all day, every day, because that's what I enjoy doing. I think that's what I'm good at. But then there's like being on the Isle of Man, there's a lot of corporate work, a lot of events. Until last year, I was doing wedding videos as well. So I was literally anything that needed video, and I was putting my hand up and going, I'll do that. So I did a bit of everything when I started going self-employed. Yeah. But ideally, if I could just do motorsport, that would be the one for me, definitely.
Awesome. What's the plans then? What's your future plans? If everything goes right, what's the plans?
So, Bloom Creators, my current company, it's just me. Then I've got Luke and Andy, my two very close friends. They've both got their own companies. Luke does motion graphics and animation. Andy does a bit of everything, film and animation. We last year formed up and made Visual Picnic, so it's one company with the three of us under. Nice. So the aim is to start doing more high-end work, and I mean there's a few that have come close. We had a last-minute one come in with BMW, Motorrad, World Superbike. Oh. They admitted it was their fault because they were so last minute. We chucked the quote to them and they just said it's too late, but we'll shout you in the future. So you never know tomorrow who's going to email or call you, but if they want to shout me and the boys, we'd happily do some stuff. But it's one of those, I want to just see what happens naturally. I never even tried to land all this work of Lyndon. It happened by accident, so that's how everything's happened so far. So I'm just going to keep letting things naturally happen, I think.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Man, yeah, brilliant. It's great to see how things are developing, for sure. Yeah, awesome.
Oh, definitely.
I've just seen the next question, or who it's from. Pete English. He's got a bit of a reputation, has Pete. And his questions are normally the more obscure or thought-provoking. Last week with Phil from Paint Nation, it was quite reserved, and it sort of took both of us aback. Really, we were like, "Oh, we weren't expecting that." So I think he's going to try and prove a point.
Is he making up for it here?
Think so. Okay. Maybe not. Serious question first. Lyndon's Races to Places series has been fantastic to watch and comes close to second to Bruce's Round the World trip. Good man, Pete. Thank you. So what's next for the channel? Are you going to concentrate more on the races, or will there be more touring involved? Well, we've covered a fair bit of that, but over to you.
Yeah. So before I go any further, just so you know, I spoke to Lyndon yesterday, and he is so keen to come on here.
Seriously?
Yeah, I know for sure. He'd love to. So.
Oh man.
Like after here, I'll like, I don't know if you've got him or on Instagram, but he's keen. He'd love to.
Yes, please. So, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because you'd need hours to talk to him. He's got some stories like so. But yeah, so he's definitely up for it.
Oh mate, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No problem. But yeah, what was I going to say there? So I've Lyndon's Races to Places series, that was all done by Lyndon and an editor called Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had nothing to do with the Races to Places. I came in at Dakar.
Yeah.
And from 2018, that's where my work started with Lyndon.
Yep.
So obviously he's finished his world travels now. He's done the whole place. He's come home.
It's all loved up now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's loved up, and with Cammy, she's so nice. It's lovely. Like I've hung out with her loads. She's a great girl. But I definitely think he's super keen. He wants to go back to the eco race next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's more looking down the route at having his team and managing a whole team, and him racing with a group.
Right.
So a full team unit. So he wants to do that more.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to think now how we can make the next trip to the eco race, or if he ever goes back to Dakar, maybe how we can make that different to what we have done in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
when he comes on, you'll be able to pick his brains with that.
Yeah.
So,
that'd be awesome. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. So you're already trying to think how can you step in front of the curve and do something different for the next one.
Lyndon never wants to do anything twice. He's always wanting to better it, or if it can't be, if you can't better it, how can I like swerve around and make something, take a different angle at it? So, yeah, I mean, we've not even had a chat about this next eco race, but I know how I'd like to tackle it, but I think we'll keep that stew for now.
No, fair enough.
So, because the daily videos are great. They're ruthless because you have so little time to do them. So at the end of the day, you have all this footage and you're like, oh, there's so much stuff that I couldn't include because we had to keep it into 20 minutes and we had a day to make it. So I'm like, what if we had more than a day to make it over the whole event? I don't know. So
what's with the 20 minutes with 20-minute limit? Is that a personal thing or something that's stipulated?
So Dakar was 10 minutes and Lyndon was in a contract, so he was allowed 7 minutes per episode of morning, waking up, bivouac, interviews, and he was allowed 3 minutes of GoPro in stage footage. That was just what Dakar agreed to. It was what Lyndon he paid for those rights basically. So that was give or take 15 seconds here and there, but that was the framework we had to work with there. Eco race, Lyndon basically said, look, Dakar, every day at Dakar I could have made a 20-minute easily. There was so much good footage. It was a struggle to cut it down. So I said to Lyndon, we could easily do 20 minutes a day. So he approached Eco Race and said, are you cool with us doing 20 minutes? And they said, look, 20 minutes and you can do as much GoPro in-stage footage as you like. They were really supportive. They were unbelievably awesome to work with. Anything that we needed. They were literally, we'll do that for you, we'll help, and we ended up sharing footage with each other, and it was just a pleasure working there. Dakar was a little bit more tough.
I've got to admit to you, I actually preferred the eco race series because it.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe a whole load of different factors in that you plainly had a lot more freedom to do the content you wanted to do. That's
literally it.
But it was having the team there together for the first time rather than just Lyndon by himself. So there was there was the story of the interaction amongst the riders themselves, and then you guys. There was it felt to me like there was more behind the scenes footage with you guys and the mechanics.
Well, Lyndon wanted to show everything at the eco race. With Dakar, it was really tough, and I really, because I'd never really known Lyndon until I literally went and did the event with him. It was, I chatted to him for sent a few emails. I have to tell you how we met. Like, I'm sure there's a question that someone's asked I've seen, but with the eco race, he was like, look, I want you to film everything. I want there to be some serious stuff when it's happening. If we're having a laugh, film that. Show you guys, the media crew, just anything that's interesting. So each day we were trying to show something different. Otherwise, it could very easily be wake up, breakfast, ride bikes, race, sand dunes, home. God, that was hard. Sleep, and they could be very, could easily become quite repetitive. So, but then with the Dakar, we were just so constricted, and also with Lyndon being the rider and also being Malimoto and having to do the work on his bike.
Phenomenal.
I was so impressed at how I was shoving cameras in his face and he just somehow managed to pull a smile.
Yeah.
Even though he was knackered and stressed and tired and beaten up and his hands were blistered. I really admire him for how easy he was to work with, because he could very easily been moody and tough to work with, but
yeah, I noticed that. I do tours as well. I take punters away on trips around predominantly Spain, and what you were saying there about waking up, some footage on the bike, some footage, and just you can very easily fall into the trap of churning out the same stuff. And I've been guilty of that with a lot of my trip videos, and I've been trying, like last year, I was trying to get a lot more off-bike footage to try and bring a bit of variety in it. But the second you put a camera in someone's face, especially people that aren't used to it, they just clam up. So you can have the most gregarious character who you think you're going to be awesome on film. Put the camera on them, boom, just nothing.
It's amazing what a camera can do when you point at someone.
I know,
you get the most confident person, you shove a camera at someone and it's rabbit headlights. I'm like that. I'm really not confident in being in front of the camera. Don't know why. I'm getting better, but Lyndon will walk through a packed bivouac, holding the camera, talking to it, and there's people looking, and he does not care because he is just wanting to do his thing and share it with his fans. And that's hard to do.
Man,
when everyone's looking at you and you're talking to a camera, it's difficult.
I feel a total knobhead doing it.
Exactly.
I do it, but a lot of the time I put it off because I just think, I don't want to be that dickhead, But
no,
you have to.
I go and hide behind a van or something, when no one's looking.
I know.
Oh, hi guys, here we are. Try and do it there quickly, but Lyndon just doesn't care, and that's why his media is so good and so natural, I think.
Yeah, cool.
So,
well, right, second part of Pete's question. Here we go. This is more up his strata. Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
Joyful simpleton.
Oh, nice.
I just want a happy life. Happy life, me. Yeah. I want to laugh, giggle, be silly.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you there. You tend to find that, don't you? You find that with a lot of creative people, a lot of arty people. They're just troubled souls a lot of the time, aren't they?
I feel like don't get me wrong, I go there sometimes. Just with life, that's what life is. You have these ups and downs, and when I'm in that sort of period, you end up getting mental block, and then you're looking for music tracks for an edit, and you can't find one you like, and then you're 4 hours there smacking the desk, and then next minute you're struggling, you get creative block, and it's no good. So I found just being stoked and not putting any stress on anything, and next minute all of the work just happens naturally, and
absolutely
that's what works for me anyway.
But
sometimes you can't help but get the stress on when you've got deadlines and there's a load of stuff happening. That's where Meg's now, she's like, go out on your bike, you are a absolute nightmare this week. Go and ride your bike or something. And that helps for me.
My wife's brilliant like that as well. She'll just say to me, just go out on a bike, just bugger off on a trip, go away.
Go somewhere.
She knows when I'm just like I need out on a bike.
Yeah. We're lucky.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so are they, though, mate. So are they.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, Damien, is Lyndon really as positivity as he comes across on camera? And if so, does he cheer up the whole camp, or would his positivity get annoying at times?
Sometimes you'll wake up in the morning and you've had 3 hours sleep on an air mattress that popped in the middle of the night. So you've been lying on the ground in a cold sleeping bag, because I bought a shit sleeping bag from like a service station, so it was good for nothing.
Yeah.
Shivering, and next minute the zip opens. Hey man, how's it going? Oh, Lyndon. He is exactly how he is on and off camera.
Yeah.
It's very rare that he's not happy, and if he isn't, there's a reason. But he is stoked all the time. And yeah, he does. He lifts the camp up.
Brilliant.
Say something's happened and I don't know, something's just not gone right. He'll come in, put his arm around you. Come on, man, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Like when I missed the first transmission at Dakar and I was gutted because he had all those people that paid his Patreon fans and everyone that donated. I felt like I let them down that day. He came, put his arm over my shoulder and I was stressed and he went, don't worry, it's all good. So he is like that all the time. Brilliant. Unless there's a reason, and it's very rare that there's a reason.
Yeah, obviously there was a bit of an issue, wasn't there, in the eco race one where there was a bit of at the end.
Towards the end. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was, and at the end of the day, rules are rules. Anyone that knows what happens will know, but that just sort of put a real bitter end to an awesome trip because it was the second to last day. But at the end of the day, it's not like, Lyndon was in the right, do you know what I mean? And he was just basically protesting his innocence and the rule book. So,
fair play.
And even then, he was still. 1 minute he's having a discussion with the organisation and the other rider that was involved. As soon as they'd pissed off, he'd come round, oh dear, and then he's on in camera explaining what happens, still smiling. So. He's got an awesome head on his shoulders.
It's fantastic to have somebody like that who's so positive about everything and so balanced about everything, and can they can play the serious man when time needs, but they also very what's the word I'm looking for? They're very sensitive to the group dynamics, and like you said, when the people need an up, they're there for you.
Yeah, he almost puts himself last. He tries to stoke everyone else up, and once everyone else is happy, then he'll deal with himself then. Yeah. And whether that means he has to go in his tent and be raging on his own and not affect the vibe, that's what he'll do.
Yeah.
Anyone else would be like, fuck everyone, get the camera out of my face, but he knows he can't be like that, so...
I've got a mate of mine, little Ed, he's an ex-bootneck, ex-marine, but he's a... short in stature. He's like you've taken Action Man and just shrunk him a little bit, but he's the nicest geezer you're ever going to meet in your life. I mean, you cannot even contemplate the fact he's killed people, but he's the most positive man you'll ever meet in your life. It's like, morning men, starboard 10, and we go away on bike trips, and literally 6 o'clock in the morning he's up, he's out, he does his yoga, he does his PT, and then he's at breakfast.
Fair play.
And he's like 100% right from the get-go, and he just doesn't stop for the whole week. By like day 3, people are like, Jesus, Ed, just tone it down,
Calm down.
He gets everybody going though. He keeps spirits up.
You need someone like that.
Yeah, definitely.
God, I'd love to be able to get up every day and do a bit. I've just started doing yoga.
Have you? How'd you find it?
Just very recently. I actually started doing it to help my enduro, help riding.
Yeah.
I've only done 2 classes, and then lockdown kicked in, and the place I was going to is shut. So they're in fact opening, I think, next week. So I'll be back down there. It's hard though.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, it's harder than I thought. I thought you just sort of stand and do stretches, but come out there sweating.
Do so many people have said to me, you need to do yoga, because I'm like an ironing board anyway. You know, even in my I used to play rugby at a reasonable level, and I was reasonably fit then, but
Yeah.
I still was not flexible in the slightest. And obviously now, like we're talking 20 odd years ago since I've played a game of rugby, so I'm carrying way too much timber. I'm really unfit, but people are saying do some yoga and you'd be amazed at it. I'm like, I can't bend over and touch my toes, let alone
Can't tie my shoelaces.
doing all that malarkey. Yeah. But yeah, I've got to do something. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, there's a class over here, and the guy that takes it, he has it. All the road races and motocross riders go.
Yeah.
So there's me thinking yogas. There's loads of like women that go and do it and stuff like that. But there's this class, and it's all the road racers do the Grand Prix and some TT riders, the motocross boys, and it helps so much. Just obviously how physical riding the bike is.
Yeah.
If you're a little bit more flexible, it helps. So
it's
that's
amazing.
why I've gone for it.
When you start talking about things like yoga and like diet, intermittent fasting and all this, when you start talking to other geezers about it, the amount of blokes that turn around and go, "Oh yeah, I do that," and you're like,
I've actually just started doing intermittent fasting.
Have you?
2 weeks ago, two weeks ago. Yeah. It's whatever works for you at the end of the day, but I only doing all this stuff because when I'm doing because I've started racing, and I'm like 3 minutes into a test in a plantation, and I'm absolutely knackered. And then there's lads going past me that I'm just as quick as, but I just don't have the fitness, and I'm just fed up of it, really. So that's why I'm all running up mountains and trying to shift a bit of weight and get fit. So
it's not a bad thing, dude. For physically, mentally, when I do get my ass out and either do some running or get to a gym, which hasn't been for a long time now, but you definitely do feel better mentally. Everything lifts, doesn't it?
Have you noticed that also you can get work done quicker?
Yeah.
You kind of sit at your desk with a bit of spring in your step and you start cracking on.
Definitely.
It just helps everything.
Yeah, I think it must be that testosterone boost. You must get some sort of chemical boost in your endorphin boost or something.
Definitely, and the feel good as well. The thing that I've done something good there. I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
God,
I'm gonna have to get out running, innit? Bloody hell, God.
Find the nearest mountain and run up it. Just do it. Don't even train.
Mate, I hate running. Running
I hate it as well.
Bollocks. I hate it.
Yeah. So I had my Garmin on today,
and
I burnt just over 1,800 calories. The
Bloody
exact
hell.
same. It's a lot, yeah. I mean, but I also went out green laning a couple of weeks ago for a few hours, and I did the same amount of calories, apparently, according to my watch.
Did you?
Running, I did a 2.5 hour. I mean, we were flat out everywhere, and there's some really tough lanes. Got stuck a few times and all that, and at the end of it, I hit stop on my watch, and it's honestly almost the same amount of calories burnt.
Well, I did.
So,
I went down to southern Spain just before Christmas. I've got a mate down there that has a bike touring and off-road company, Toro Trail and Toro Adventure.
class.
And I have this thing about going off-road. Like, despite having ridden around the world, I hate off-roading because I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, dear.
I'm shit at it. And like I did my world trip on a jigsaw, so it was just
I know you did.
paddling. It wasn't proper off-roading. I was off-road, but I just had my feet down where it was just paddle my way across. And my mate's called Lyndon as well, and Lyndon has been saying, come down, we'll go off-road, because I always go down and go on-road on the GSs and stuff. He's like, come off-road, I'll teach you how to go off-road. So, all right, okay, let's do it. So I went off-road with him on these Husky 350s.
Okay, yeah.
Hated it.
Oh, really?
What
about it did you hate?
The lack of... I felt so out of control.
Right, yeah.
Because I just didn't know
what
I was...
you mean.
Do you know, like, I'm 20 stone, I'm sat... Well, not sat, I was stood on this little 350 thing, and I couldn't find the right balance point for it. So I was either too far over the front, or as soon as I touched the gas, I felt like I was back here, and I couldn't stand up properly on it. I didn't like it.
That's fair enough. It's one of those. If you're not used to it, then you're not used to it.
But there were moments when things just went right, and I thought, what
a feeling.
I get this. And then all of a sudden, it would just be sheer terror as I saw rocks.
Yeah.
And, it was just like, no!
Yeah. I go out with the lads here, and they're all way better than me. And I think that's why I've come on a fair bit, trying to keep up with them. But they know all of the green lanes on the Element, and there's hundreds of them. So I'm trying to keep up with them, and next minute, a hedge is just coming and a big hard left, and I've rode into hedges and gone into ditches, and they're all ahead of me, so I dust myself off quickly, get on the bike, catch up with them. You alright? Oh yeah, fine, absolutely fine. Just nearly died, but it's cool. You don't need to know that. So I know what you mean about the being out of control. I'm slowly getting a bit more used to it, but when you see someone that knows what they're doing, it's a bit like even when I used to film the World Enduro series, and I went around all the world filming and the Super Enduro, the indoor stuff, and I thought, bloody hell, that's impressive. Now that I actually do it myself, like seeing what Lyndon does through the dunes and everything for 18, 16 something hours a day, I can really appreciate the
flat out
how brutal it is. Flat out. Jesus Christ. Fair play, boys. You know what I mean? Fair play.
Everyone I know that goes off road just says, "Well, it's easier when you go faster over sand," and I'm just like,
I've heard that too.
What? I mean, what? I can't get over that bit in my head. Just gas it, go flat out, and you'll be okay. And it's like, yeah, but what? Then you watch like the footage that you did, where all of a sudden they just hit that really soft sand that just grabs the wheel.
Oh, next minute the bike's stuck in the in the sand, and you're 20 yards ahead of it or whatever. Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know. They're brave lads. Brave lads.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes good viewing, though. I tell you.
Yeah, it does.
Right. Next question. We have.
We went off on one there, didn't we?
Nah, don't worry about that, mate. This is what this is all about. It's just conversation, isn't it? See where we go with it. There's another question from Damien, but I think we have covered this. What was editing on the move and under what looked like serious time pressures like for the Dakar series?
Yeah. The Dakar was way more. I know we've talked about it. I'll just quickly. The Dakar was way more strict. We basically were given a 15-minute satellite transmission time. So they were sending the video edit from the truck to somewhere in France, and then from France it was being sent to a guy called Greg, who was looking after all of the uploads and typing out all of the information about the videos. He was sorting all that out. But if you were late, this group of French lads in this truck, they were sorry, you're late, or it was stressful. But Eco Race, they understood what we were trying to do, which was make awesome footage to not only cover Lyndon and the team, but also help promote their event, which is still quite a new event. I think it's 6 or 7 years.
Definitely.
It's been going for, so it's growing quick. But we're on the same side, trying to push it through and get it in front of more people to look at. So if one day, look, God, guys, we're going to be like an hour late, it's fine, don't worry, just come at this time and we'll move some stuff around. And they were just really happy to help, and they were real. They understood that it's difficult, and some days shit happens, and you'll hit a shit road and you feel sick or you're tired, and they were just, they were awesome to work with. So if anyone from the Eco Race is watching this, they already know, because we said thank you a million times, but honestly, thank you for being so awesome to work with.
Yeah, and as a punter watching that, it really does show, because you would think something like the Dakar would be like the main event in terms of a viewing spectacle, but the Eco Race was definitely a step up. Definitely a step up.
We almost got the feeling that sometimes the Dakar didn't want us doing what we were doing. Yeah. And I almost like we were stepping on their toes, or because 2018, I know last year they stepped it up big time, and their social media presence was
a lot more.
Bounds, more improved. They were all over the Instagram stories, and there was media constantly. But when we did it, our viewing figures were almost. In fact, I think some days they were more.
Wow. On
YouTube. So I don't know, but maybe they weren't happy with that, or they were getting annoyed. I don't know, but the Eco Race were completely the opposite.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool.
But they were just buzzing to have us there. So
yeah, nice. Right, Stuart Bailey. If a motorcycle has a soul, which bikes will go to heaven and which to hell, and what characteristics would be considered as sins? Bloody hell.
Fuck.
Okay, now we need something more. I think we need something stronger than beer for most of these questions. They get quite
deep,
obscure, don't they? Yeah.
That's deep. So, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I'm definitely more of a car guy. I've only just come to bikes recently. I don't know. I'm not biased enough towards any brands or anything. I start with a KTM, a 2001 KTM 252 stroke that had been pulled out from the sea, and I bought it for 700 quid. And it started, and that was enough for me. And I learned on that.
What, KTM started?
First time, actually, and it was cold as well. Andy, one of my best mates who I work with, he came and he was all like touching the pipe. Oh, it's cold, yeah. Start straight away. He was like, buy it.
Wow.
Right now, buy it. So I did my time on that, and I've now got a 2018 factory 300 Sherco 2-stroke.
Look at you.
I love.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Full factory boy. They're the only two bikes that I know. So I don't know if I can answer that really. My dad's got a Harley Davidson V-Rod. I know some people don't like Harleys, but I see how my dad is when he rides that bike, and he loves it.
Yeah.
He wants an MV Agusta.
Does he?
But he'll admit he wants one. He'll never get one. He's the first person to say, if I get one, I will kill myself. Hence why he's got the V-Rod. I like the old Ducatis. There's not a bike out there that I could say that I don't like, because I don't really know enough, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
No, I get you.
How do you feel about that question? You probably answer that better than me, definitely.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you my answer in terms of bikes then, and then we'll go to you on cars, seeing as cars are your thing.
Sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Motorcycle has a soul. Which bikes will go to heaven? Right. So who are the goody two-shoes of bikes? I've got to admit, I haven't test ridden that many, but out of the ones I have, I took out the Triumph Tiger 1200. I took that to the Pyrenees last year. If you've not seen the series, there'll be a link somewhere here. And I got to admit, that to me felt, you can spank it. You know, it's got a little bit of a bad boy side, but it's definitely more of the school prefect than it is being behind the bike sheds having a fag.
The naughty boy.
Yeah, definitely. So I would put the Tiger 1200. That's going to heaven. I would say, what else have I ridden that's a bit? Now, people will think I'm insane here. I test rode a 2017 or 2018 BMW S1000 XR. Now, it's a rocket ship, but it just felt meh. It felt soulless.
It didn't gel with you.
Nah. And I know it's nuts to say that that's going to go to heaven, but it just didn't. It didn't feel like it was a bad boy. It just felt like it's the college athlete that's going to go to the Olympics, but it'll do
Shirt
nothing.
Tucked in.
Yeah.
But top button done up.
Yeah. Blazer with the tie on. It'll do nothing wrong. Yeah. And I know it can do stuff, but when I rode it, it didn't make me feel like that. So I put those two to heaven. Hell, good God. At the moment, the video that comes out tomorrow, actually, I've got the 2020 1290 Super Duke R, the KTM Super Duke R.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Fuck me sideways. Mate, I'm in love. I'm totally in love. God, yeah. I mean, I'm seriously considering.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Was it one of those?
I got on it, and before I picked it up at KTM UK, which is up near Silverstone, and by the time I came out the industrial complex and got to the roundabout, I hit the throttle, and it was pretty much just like, yep, okay, this is it. Where do I sign? It's crazy.
Just the power delivery, or just how it felt?
It has power from 1 rev to 10,000 revs. It's just got power everywhere, and it pulls whenever like a train. It makes you
awesome.
You know, I don't know if you know any of my history. I used to be Old Bill. I ended up resigning from the Old Bill.
That,
and there was a complaint about speed and all this sort of stuff through my videos. So I still try in my videos. I do try now not to be a dickhead. You know, I try to keep the speed down, and you got to fly the flag, haven't you? So
Sure.
So when I was filming, I was sticking to my 30s and my 40s and doing my best to just. But even at 30 and 40 mile an hour, this bike makes me feel like I'm 18 years of age.
Wow.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
I loved it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Absolutely loved it. So that's definitely coming to hell with me. And
I like how you know you're going to hell.
Oh God, yeah.
Coming with you.
Oh God, yeah.
I'll see you there.
I'll be there. I'll see you at the bar. I'll get the first round.
Yeah, definitely.
And people are going to look at me and go, "Oh, I would take a GS. I would take a GS to hell."
Hey man, it's your opinion. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? So tell me why you take a GS.
Because that bike will do everything. Everything.
Yeah.
If you want to trundle down to Starbucks calf in your BMW suit with your panniers and look like you're going to go in long way around the world, but you're just going to the calf and back. If you want to do that, the bike will take you there in perfect comfort. If you want to go to Donington and give it some, maybe not Donington, it's a really fast circuit. If you want to go to Brands Indy circuit, nice and tight, you can go to Brands Indy on a GS and you can mix it with the other riders there. Maybe not in a fast group, but certainly in the novice and medium and intermediate. That thing will do well on the track. If you want to go and do some green laning, you can. If you know what you're doing, you can do it.
Yeah, sure.
And I have
Hey.
I have strapped a suitcase to the back of the bike and ridden, somewhere with a suitcase on the back. It'll do it. No problem at all.
Yeah, sure.
You can do 1,000 miles on it in a day if you want to, and it will keep you fairly comfortable. It just does absolutely everything. But it's also got the new one, the 1250. It's just got that sort of devil side to it. So if you do want to mix it, it'll make a good attempt at it.
Fair play.
So I'll take the GS.
So you've sent a bike down Graham Hill, Ben at Brands, have you?
Well, I've not crashed there yet, but
no, as in like you've raced down it. So what the hell's that like then? Like I've filmed British touring cars there a few times, and I've stood on it, and it's the whole thing on TV. God, that looks steep, and then you stand on it, and it's bloody steep.
Paddock Hill off the start finish line. When it goes
sorry,
down.
Paddock Hill. I said Graham. Yeah. Paddock Hill. Sorry.
Yeah, it's mental. It's awesome. It's one of those bends that you just have to go for. You've got to get the right line and just go for it, and it's awesome. I mean, I am nowhere. I am not fast. I mean, I will go to a track day, and if you put me in the intermediates, I'll probably get lapped within a lap or two. I'll be getting lapped by people, but it's one of those bends where you just have to pick the line, keep the power on, and just go for it. And if you do
Is it a big grin on you, like?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. But you see the people who they're committed. Holy shit! And the amount of people that just go wide,
let off. Yeah.
straight into the sand. Oh man.
Yeah.
But no, Brands is just up the road for me. It's like 20 minutes for me. Yeah. So I should go there a lot more.
Times.
Have you?
Yeah. Well, when I worked at Greenlight, they looked after the British touring cars, so I was like a pig in shit when they sent me to those jobs. I loved it. Pass all around. I could go wherever I want. Talk to all the drivers. I loved it.
Mint.
Yeah.
So go on then.
Loved that.
Cars. Which ones are going to heaven? Which ones are going to hell?
So I'm a big BMW fan. I've got an E30, 1990 E30 325i.
Right.
And it's mint. I love it. I actually managed to sneak it into my wedding vows.
In the vows?
So, yeah, we'll stay together forever as long as you don't make me sell my BMW. Genuinely, I'm not joking. Nice. So I love that car. I'm definitely a fan of the 80s and 90s, the boxy shape. One brand that I'm not keen on is Hondas.
All right.
Just not for me.
Okay.
So all Hondas can go to heaven. They're 40 VTEC, the noise that they make.
Yeah.
Anything German, anything Japanese is all good with me, as long as it's younger than 2005, I'd say.
All right, yeah.
So, because I could go on for forever, but that's where I'm at. 1980 or 70 to 2005, I feel like that's when cars stopped looking nice.
All right, okay. Why is that then?
Yeah.
What was it? What is it about these newer ones?
They've all just gone. All the modern cars are all very bubbly and round and big and I know it's obviously a lot safer, but I just can't see past the old boxy, the old Fords.
Yeah.
Just the body lines. I don't know why. I've just always been a fan. Always been a massive fan of that era. So yeah, that's that.
Right, we're gonna have a giggle in hell then.
Yeah, sweet, definitely. What would you drink in hell then?
Like
if you could rock up and there was a drink on the bar for you, what would that be?
Oh wow! So we're talking about. Okay, see, for me, drinking's in two parts. There's the start of the night, and then there's the end of the night. So,
for sure, yeah.
To start off an evening, it would be. I genuinely do like this stuff. I genuinely do like it. These sort of IPAs, Brewdog IPAs. I like IPA. I like. I quite like some stouts as well. You know, I'll drink a Guinness. Yeah, I'll drink a Guinness.
I like Guinness, definitely. I think that some of them are a bit heavy for me, but then I'll have one and it's nice. It depends on the mood for me with stouts, but
absolutely, yeah.
I'm definitely a beer, bitter, IPA kind of guy.
In Spain, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say I love me whiskey as well.
That's later on in the night.
Brandy. Yeah. There's not much I wouldn't actually. To be fair, quite easily pleased, mate.
I was going to say in Spain they do these lemon beers. I can't remember what they're called now.
All right.
They're awesome. It's basically lager. It's more or less almost like a shandy, but it's booze, like a lot of booze in it. So they do them, and when you for us, like you finish a day riding on the bike, and just that first
refreshing
beer. Oh man, you have one of those lemon beers. But the thing is, you can have about 10, and they just go down.
That's cool though.
They just go down like pop.
For me, like a shandy's nice at a barbecue on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because you can have a few of them, can't you? But they're not going to wreck you for Monday. So I'm with you on that one.
You wait till you get towards 40. Oh mate.
Honestly, well, yeah.
I used to, in my younger days, like end of teens, all through uni. I went to uni and stuff, and I would say from about 18 to my mid-20s, maybe even late 20s into my 30s, I did drink a lot.
Yeah.
When I started in the old Bill at mid-20s, it's not so much now, but there used to be a really big social drinking culture there. So you'd finish night duties, your week of nights, and then you'd have a week off. So as soon as you finish nights, it would be straight to the early house. On every borough had a pub somewhere where you could get a beer.
So it's like on telly where there's a bar where all the cops go.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't. It's not a cop bar. We didn't have that.
That's just where everyone went.
Yeah, but it's like where the market stall people went, or the builders went, or people that are up early hours of the morning and they're done the work by 6-7 o'clock. So the pubs are open, and you can go in there and have a few beers. But
that was your place where you went.
Yeah. We used to go up Borough Market up in Southwark in London. That used to be our one. But I found as I got sort of into my late 30s, a hangover would go from being a day to like 4 or 5 days. It would just crucify me. Yeah.
So, and then you feel bad because of the time you've lost what you could have been doing. Instead you're in bed or you're whinging around with a headache.
Oh man, And I've got
slowly starting to get me.
It'll come.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
And you mentioned whiskey's my thing now. I would say as the evening progresses, move on to the whiskies, get the cigars out. Yes, love it. Nice,
awesome,
nice malt cigar.
Works for me.
Malt whiskey, love it. Okay, so that's heaven and hell. Job done.
Yeah.
Next one, Dave Pighills. Bruce, my question for you both would be: is the age of the full dress touring motorcycle over? With the exception of BMW R and K models and Honda Goldwing, full-dress tourers are either discontinued or remain underdeveloped after many years, like the Pan-European, Yamaha FJR, etc. Will future tourers be adventure bike-based? Oh, cool. What do you think about that?
I think it's like anything. Stuff's just... Technology's developing. Things are getting smaller, more compact. People are realising that you can use stuff for other things. Again, I mean, I've not got much experience in that sort of field, but from an outsider looking in, I can see that you can probably do the same thing on a newer bike, easier, have more fun. But then I suppose there's always going to be the guys out there that want to still do it the old way, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's a couple of parts to this, in that I think a lot of the people who grew up onto sports bikes, I would say the majority of the biking community out there is fairly long in the tooth these days. They're in their mid-30s up to the 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s or more now. So those people that were riding sports bikes in the 80s and 90s and even in the noughties, we're now 20 years on from then. And people are finding that they don't want to be cramped up in a sports bike, even on a big tourer like that. Some people want a new bike, and the new adventure bikes in particular, the likes of the GSs and the Triumphs and the Ducati Multistradas, the KTMs, all these things. These big adventure bikes give you more performance than like those bikes do from 10, 15-year-old technology.
For sure.
But they do it probably even more in a more comfortable riding position than they do.
And efficient.
And and they've got all the gizmos, as you said, they're more fuel economic. They've got ABS, traction control, anti-wheelie. They'll have Bluetooth systems built in there. Some of them even have like speakers on them, entertainment systems.
Oh, nice.
Heated seats, heated grips.
I was about to say, they have heated seats.
Yeah,
a lot massager.
Yeah, a lot of them have heated seats. Yeah, I don't know if they do the maybe the Goldwing, the new Goldwing might. I mean, it's like 35 grand or something ridiculous. It's insane.
Yeah,
but
fair play.
I think the modern bikes now are they just offer a lot more and in more comfort and every bit as quick. So
and I suppose like the more newer bikes, you'll get a bike that can do, it's a Swiss Army tool almost. It can do a bit more of everything as opposed to being a specific thing to do. One type of riding. That's it.
Like your BMW R1250 GS.
Yeah.
Some people love that. Other people hate it. The comments I get about being a GS fanboy. But as you said, there will always be a group of people that prefer the old stuff.
Love it the old way.
So they'll always have that.
And I love that.
Yeah.
In anything, I think it's so important to have that because that's what keeps the vintage, the older and the vintage scenes alive.
Yeah, definitely.
And also it's something a bit cooler about it as well because it's a bit tougher and it's not as easy, but they're going, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway.
Exactly.
I think that's rad.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Totally. Right, we shall move across onto Instagram. So what do we have here? Now, I always make a point, Dario, of not reading the questions beforehand. So
so we're going in blind.
Yeah, this is as much a surprise to me as it is to you with a lot of these.
Cool.
So,
all right, sweet.
What do we have here? Right, Tiny Cirillo on Insta. What is the biggest difficulty when filming the Dakar rally?
The Dakar. Okay, so again, I'd sort of touched on it earlier, but the restrictions. Areas you can't go to. At the start, sometimes you'd be lucky and your bivouac and the camp and where you were sleeping would be near the start of the stage. But you can get to a certain point and you get a big hand, like, can't go any further. And I don't have the lens to film Lyndon way over that hill and get him setting off. So I'm like, come on, guys, why can't I fucking go up by the start? What's going to happen, Stuff like that made it really difficult. In terms of the actual covering the event, it's exactly the same as Eco Race. Wake up, film, travel for hours in the day, get to the next camp, get your camera back out, film, edit. So they're both very similar. Just Dakar being very difficult to work with. That's what I'd say is the hardest thing.
Did you do like all the drone footage and stuff? Well, obviously in the Eco Race there was quite a bit of drone footage in that. Is that from you or supplied by them?
Yeah, that. So I have a Mavic Air. They're super easy.
Yeah.
Eco Race were like, you can literally chuck that up whenever you want. Just so you know, I mean they had a medical helicopter and 2 media choppers. They let us know they told us when they were going to be taken off, so in the morning, get the sunset, boom, fly it up, get a load of nice shots, aerials of the bivouac, which you can't beat. You can't beat seeing stuff like that from above.
Nah.
I mean, at Dakar it'd be even more amazing because of the sheer size, and they're like little festivals every time. But there was no chance you were getting permission for that. But we did all the drone footage. Morocco, there's a couple of tricky points.
Yeah, they're a bit
flutter my
about
eyelashes at someone at one point. Well, I didn't realise. We drove past this one bit and there was a real nice cliff that you could see down into the sea, and I was like, shit, we need to stop, get out and get a shot of this. It's stunning.
Yeah.
And we pulled over, boom, drone out, props out, battery in. 5 minutes, it was up in the air, and a car pulled up behind 2 guys from the Moroccan army.
Yep.
You got a drone, bring it back now. I'm like, oh shit. Flew it back, completely just pled innocence, which in fairness, oh, sorry, we're doing this event, I just thought we'd film the cliffs and it looked really nice, and do you know it's illegal? We could put you in jail. It was like, oh my God, I'm really sorry. Like there and then, he was like, delete the clip. So I pulled it up, deleted a clip, not all of them though. So I still got, so I was a bit naughty, but so I deleted the takeoff clip.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were ruthless, and there was a couple of places in Morocco where they were like, actually, probably don't fly your drone here. Everywhere else, fair game.
Yeah. Morocco is stunning, isn't it? What a country.
Oh my God.
I love Morocco.
I need to go back.
Did you find...
love to go back.
Sorry, go on.
I'd like to go there and ride. I know they do a lot of training. I'd love to just go there for a week or something.
Yeah.
Maybe with Lyndon, if he wants to take me. Go and film him, maybe bring a few bikes. But I do want to go back, definitely. Because when you're on an event, you don't get that much time to take anything in. It's very much work, film everything next day. And before you know it, you're back home. So I'd like to go back. The food was tremendous.
It is, isn't it?
The scenery was stunning. Yeah, the people were really friendly.
Yeah.
So I want to go back, definitely.
I found it. I've been back there since my own trip. I've been back a couple of times with my mate Lyndon that does the Toro stuff down in southern Spain.
Yeah, southern Spain, yeah.
They also do off-road and road tours in Morocco. So I did the initial sort of recce ride with him and a couple of other close mates. And we did like a 10-day, just balls to the wall, go for it, woohoo, pioneer, let's see what it's like. We did that, and then I took a tour party out there the following year, and I loved it. And it's great to see. It's great to see other people's faces. People that have never done overlanding before. They've never been out of like the first world. Morocco is just that first little tiptoe in it into the big world out there, the real big world out there. And to see their faces, even just at the border, we went from the Spanish enclave, Ceuta.
So how did you get on a ferry?
Yeah, we took the fast ferry across from I've forgotten the name of it. I'll just say it's about 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
What, really?
Yeah, there's a fast ferry.
We were on a fast. It must be fast then, because we got the ferry from. We drove from Monaco over to the very top of Italy to, can't remember the name of the port. Begins with an S. We were 2.5 days on a ferry getting down to Morocco.
Yeah.
It was
from Spain.
It just took forever. Yeah,
from Spain.
25 minutes.
Yeah, there's 2 routes you can do from Spain. One goes from Algeciras to a Spanish enclave, a little peninsula of Morocco, which is called Ceuta, and that is about 25 to 35 minutes fast crossing straight across.
Sounds nice, that.
So you land, you're not in a border, you're in Spain still, and then it's a land.
Oh, right.
It's an actual proper land border crossing into Morocco. The other one it's about a 3.5 hour roll on roll off ferry, just like you get at Dover at Calais. So you do that, and that one's about 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and that goes to, is it Tangier? I think it's Tangiers.
Tangier, that's where we arrived.
Yeah,
Tangier.
So that's a very modern port border point, that isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was spot on.
Yeah. That one's probably much more civilized. But the Ceuta one is proper fixers running everywhere, mayhem, mopeds going about. But
class.
I love that sort of stuff. I hated it when I didn't know what was going on, but now you get used to it. It's like, I like this. This is overland travel, and to see people's faces when we get to that, they're just like, fucking hell, what is this? You know,
where have we arrived?
Yeah, and then you get through that, and sort of the further south you go into Morocco, and we always stop. You always stop local, you know, you always stop at roadside cafes and eat there, because you get more for your money, and it's the whole local experience.
Yeah, of course.
I've said it time and time again, Moroccans, they look like pantomime villains, don't they? They look like they're going to stab you and kill you. But they're the nicest people in the world.
Yeah. You
know,
couldn't have put that any better, to be honest.
Like, nothing is too much bother for them. They will do anything for you. It's a dry country, but they'll always find beer for you, and they'll come back with...
There's beer if you want to find it. It's there.
Do you know what I loved about Morocco? It's a dry country. It's a Muslim country, dry country, but they have a Moroccan lager.
Brilliant.
You're like, what? You've got your own beer?
As if I didn't realise.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So did you go into Mauritania at all?
Yeah, on my world trip I did. Yeah, I didn't have a good time.
And how
there.
different? Well, so this is what I was about to say. How different were, you know, considering their neighbouring, you know, like countries?
It was, oh God.
We went from Morocco to like you say, pulling over at the side of roads, people happy, smiling, take photos, videos, everything's very nice. We get into Morocco and there's bloody kids pelting rocks at our cars, and we're having to drive through junctions because it just did not feel safe. And I couldn't believe how going over a border made that much difference. There's a few times in Mauritania, like, where we were really scared. Genuinely.
Well, you must have crossed at the same border checkpoint I did, where you end up, you go down like a sand track with these burnt out concrete buildings at the side of you, and then the track splits. So there's two options, left and right track, and it just disappears into the desert, and you have to wait.
So is this like a no man's land where there's just burnt out cars and bloody rubbish everywhere?
Yeah.
Looks like something on another place. Yeah, I mean, I hope there's not other places like that, but we went through somewhere that looked like that.
That's it. I took the right fork, because they were trying to get me to pay them money, and they'd guide me, because they kept telling me it's mined, it's a minefield. There's a track, stay on the track, it's a minefield. And I was like, I'll be all right, I'll be okay, because it's a track. I'm on a track, and I thought that'll be all right. So I sort of shooed them off. And then as I left them and went off into the desert, the track split in two. And
oh my God.
I couldn't see anything. And I couldn't see anything on the horizon. It was just like a gradual dune in front of me with just stuff everywhere. And
just shit everywhere.
Yeah. Like burnt out
really,
cars.
Really nice, but fucking shit everywhere. Like,
yeah, and there were bits. They were like I just remember them. There was just like, it just looked weird, like stuff at the side of these tracks next to these like burnt out cars and vehicles. And I took the right fork, and further down the road, you know, I just thought, shit, this has got to be the wrong place, because I'm in the middle of the desert now, in a leather suit on a jigsaw. I thought, this is crazy. And it sort of dawned on me that these bits were like bit of camel, like just rotting bits of camel and stuff. I was like, fucking hell, that's minging. Man. So I thought, right, I'll cross over the middle here and pick up that other track.
Join up the other one, yeah.
So I started doing that, and then I've still got my helmet on, paddling my way across the sand, and I could just hear this noise on the wind, and I was like, yeah. So I sort of turned round, and there's all these local lads from the border checkpoint. We're all waving like this, and they were screaming. So I took my helmet off, and then I heard them. They were like, minis, mines. It's like mines. I was like,
oh my God, you're joking.
Fuck, I'm in a minefield.
He just sent it into a minefield.
Yeah. And they were like this, you know, stop. So I stopped, and then I can't remember how much to pay them. I had to pay them some money, and they basically,
yeah, of course,
you know, follow me. It might not have been a minefield, but they got money out of me.
Yeah.
And they got me onto this track, and then I followed them to where the police checkpoint was. Got through that. I had to pay them money to get through that, and then I'd met up with this older South African gent by that point, who was riding a sidecar down to Cape Town. So we headed off, and then we got picked up by like 3 big Toyota Land Cruisers that were all like, the geezers in it were all hijabbed up, were rifles and everything, and it's like,
oh, proper.
Yeah, you know,
there's nothing more terrifying.
Yeah, if you Google terrorist, that's what they look like. And it was like,
you said it, man.
Oh fuck! And this was 2012, and it's right at the time when, do you know Boko Haram, the They're the Muslim fundamentalist lot that they exploded out of Central Africa and kidnapped all those Nigerian schoolgirls. Do you remember that?
I remember the Nigerian schoolgirls. I don't remember them being called that, but
Yeah, so I think it was Boko Haram.
Shit.
But anyway, they basically
yeah.
exploded out of Central Africa, and just before I crossed into Mauritania, they sacked Mali. They took over Mali, Timbuktu and everything, and they'd come across into Mauritania. So the Mauritanian government, to try and combat that, flooded the 2 roads in Mauritania with police and army checkpoints.
Right.
So I'm listening to all this on the news before, like literally the night before I crossed in.
Before
I'm like,
you go in.
what am I doing?
Oh my God.
And then as soon as I got through the sort of official checkpoint, I'm in Mauritania. These three blooming truckloads of terrorists turn up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna get beheaded. So they started following us, and you get it's like a cartoon. We started getting faster and faster, and they were behind us and behind us. We ended up into Nouadhibou, which was the closest town to where we were, and I'd already sort of booked an overland. I'm saying a campsite. It's a mechanic's yard where you can pitch your tent in it. So
Perfect.
it's what other overlanders had used and recommended. So
So you knew that it was decent.
yeah, I had that in my sat nav, and I was just following that. But by the time we got into this town, we were, like you said, we were gunning it, like straight over junctions, over roundabout, not stopping for anyone. These guys were chasing us by this point. And I just remember kind of going around the corner, and there was this big Arab guy in his big long coat, and he's standing there like this and going like that, like air traffic control. So I just followed him. It was where the sat nav said this place was, so I thought that must be him. Just went straight in, and he slammed the gate behind us, and he was just like that, We could hear the truck.
Oh, you're safe.
Yeah, we heard the trucks go by.
Oh, fuck, so they were genuinely...
Yeah, he said,
I see.
bad man, very, very bad man. And he's like, shh.
See, we didn't have... I mean, there was no worries like that, because obviously this was a big event, and there was hundreds of vehicles, competitors, organisation, and we were in a train almost, and when we got to these border crossings, there was queues of people, and that made us feel safe, but... on the ferry over there, chatting to someone, he's like, oh, I know someone... in fact, it was Joey Evans from the team. He was saying he heard a story of I think he was another fellow South African who went down on an adventure bike, was riding from Morocco all the way down to South Africa, went through Mauritania, stopped over somewhere. There was bumped into 3 other people, and the 4 of them got taken hostage. One ran off, got killed. The other 3 of them were in... I think this guy ended up being in their like prison for like 7 years.
Oh my God!
And he ended up taking up the Quran, got into their religion, almost, and then he was released in 7 years. Do you know what? I'm probably wrong. It might have even been 9.
Oh my
it was
God.
a shocking amount of time, and he got free and got back home. But I mean,
wow.
Just to cap that little chat off, Mauritania was not very pretty and felt unsafe.
That's exactly how I would describe
it.
Yeah, just
yeah. So
I got taken. Did you use the border Rosso into Senegal? It's right down in the southeast of Mauritania.
Do you know what? I actually can't. I'd have to check. I can't remember the name.
You get on a wee boat and chug across the river into.
No,
the
we
next
didn't.
one.
We didn't do any boats or anything.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
By the time we got down near Senegal, it was very nice then.
You might have done the. Sorry to interrupt. Did you do a whole load of like off road to get to the border, or was there a road, a track?
The whole place. Very off road. It was like being on the moon or something.
Yeah, you probably did the southern border then, which is that's the one to
Right.
go for. That's a lot nicer than.
I'm sure that's why the organisation took us that way.
Yeah.
But North Mauritania compared to the bottom, completely different.
Yeah. And then Senegal's amazing, isn't it? Like.
Oh man, it was like God. It was like being in a different world. Everything's colourful.
Yeah.
All the houses are painted bright colours.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing like football shirts and they're all buzzing, clapping, like waving.
Yeah.
It was a shame that we were only there for like 3 days. I think the majority of the trip was Morocco and Mauritania, and we got to Senegal and we were like, "Why are we only here for a few days? This is awesome."
Yeah.
The only bad thing was they were just trying to sell you stuff all the time. But
yeah, they got to hustle
you're
though,
polite
aren't they?
enough and say exactly. You know what I mean? If you're just polite and say, no, thank you, then they'd leave.
Yeah.
But God, I loved it down there. I really did.
I was so gutted that I'm not ashamed to say it, but Mauritania broke me. It broke me mentally. It really did, and physically. You know, I nearly died like twice crossing Mauritania. So by the time I got to Dakar, I was done. I was just fried, and I really do regret. Like I said, I hate to have regrets, but I do regret making a decision to stop, and because I came back to London, had a bit of time to regroup, and then went again. And I do. It's just a little. It's a thing. It's a grudge with me where I think, why didn't you just see it off and get all the way back down to South Africa?
It's only natural to have regrets in life. I know it's not the aim of the game, but it happens.
Because like Senegal's the start of, in my mind, it's like the start of proper Africa. You know, it's the start of like Black 100%. Africa. You've got the jungle just south of it, and it's like, we're getting there.
Like the whole thing in your head when you imagine riding through Africa. I agree. That's where it starts. That's why we were sad that we only got a few days of it, because the footage we got was incredible. There was a lot of times going through Mauritania, we're tired, we're driving through these hills, all these rocks, and then all of a sudden you'd see a family and a goat in the middle of this rock field, and you're like, it's absolutely freezing cold. You've got 4 kids, a father and mother. How on earth are you guys surviving? And it just got us really sad. A lot of the days we got given each morning, it was the same food every day, a bag full of crackers, raisins, nuts, biscuits, all this stuff, and we were handing that stuff out because we just didn't need it. But there were some heartbreaking moments where you could see that life is just brutally a struggle for these people.
Absolutely.
And then you go through a built-up area and they're pelting rocks at you. So that.
It's interesting you say that, because I had a similar experience in Mauritania. Like I said, I buddied up with this older boy who was on he was like on an old Russian Ural motorcycle and sidecar. And sometimes if he was in front of me, we'd be going down the road, and it was like the things you see on the documentaries. The kids would come out from, just people arrived, don't they? And they were running alongside and waving, and hey. So he'd go through, then I'd come by, and they would literally turn round and take their shoes off and throw the shoes at me, and like you said, throwing rocks.
The first guy didn't stop, and they expect you to give them stuff. They expect you go through, they expect you to give them stuff.
Is that what it
and
is?
At the beginning, I think so. That's what we sort of came to the conclusion of, because at the beginning we were handing stuff out, and then next minute we're a few cars behind a train of cars that have gone through the town, and then next minute the first car's not stopped and given them a gift. And then next minute they're grabbing shit that they can net by their feet and throwing it at the car and nearly putting the windows through. So
bloody hell.
It was incredibly interesting all the time. Like, we didn't sleep much in the car through Mauritania because you just couldn't. It was just eye-opening, shocking, everything all at one time.
Yeah, it's weird that, because I know other people. Like there's a lassie called Steph Jevin. She's a Welsh lass, and she set off. She was a couple of weeks behind me on my first attempt. And she came through Mauritania a few weeks after me, and she had the time of her life. She had a great time. She's the polar opposite of our experiences, is what she had. Loved it. And I do know quite a few other people that loved Mauritania. But for me, it was just like, I can't think of a single redeeming feature about the place.
It was just every time you got over a crest, or you got to a point in the horizon that you've been seeing coming, and then it's just more of the same. These power lines and like burnt out cars, and it's just it was a lot of the same stuff, really.
It's weird that you did it all off road.
I enjoyed it as well. It was just for me. I've been all over the world with work, and like literally every corner of the world, and that was the most. I'd say the most third world place I've ever been by a long way. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that, definitely. So where's your top place then, of all the places you've been?
So I again at Greenlight, I did Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. And when I left Greenland to go self-employed, I said to them that I'm leaving you guys as in a full-time employee, but I still want to freelance. I still want to help you out. I still want to work with you. I just can't be full-time because it's so much traveling. And my family boy, my mum and dad are 30 seconds up the way. Yeah. My wife Megan, her parents a minute the other way. All my family are in Onken and Douglas, the two towns where I live. So they gave me Porsche Carrera Cup to look after, and that's all out in Asia. So Thailand, Singapore,
nice,
Japan, Mount Fuji, Shanghai. Like honestly, the people out there, I'd say particularly in Thailand, are incredibly kind, very just polite and very enjoyable people to be around. Yeah, I loved it out there. The food, the culture, everything was just mega. So if I ever got a job out there, I was genuinely excited to go. I've been down to Mexico and filming Super Enduro, the indoor stuff, and I got a personal bodyguard to take me around the town because where we were filming in Guadalajara, if you have tattoos, you're either a celebrity or really rich, or you're in the drug cartel. So I had a bodyguard to take me around the main square. I was just filming water fountains and welcome to Mexico for the round 7 of whatever. So I'm just filming generic stuff, and I had an escort. And again, a week after that was Brazil. It was kind of similar down there. So Thailand was just safe the whole time. It was like you don't have to worry. You can literally point a camera anywhere, do whatever, and people
very chilled out,
happy, smiling, very chilled. And then Japan, in my opinion, my favourite country. Probably if I was ever going to move anywhere, I'd go to Japan.
I found it just, I'm not, I'm definitely not a religious man. And I never used to be.
Neither am I.
I never used to be a spiritual person. But I think certainly the older I'm getting, the more I'm like, kind of, I'd like to think there's more to it than this. Do you know what I mean? And I found Japan just sort of, it sort of spoke to somewhere way deep down. There's
a different energy about the place.
Yeah. It's like for us.
You're in the petrol. Sorry, go ahead.
For us, like history, even in the UK, we've got history, don't we? We have. For sure, yeah. We've got old, ancient history. You've got buildings that go back 1,500 years, 1,600 years, or things like that. But you go to Japan, and they've got temples that are 5,000 years old, and they're still standing, looking better than some of the new build flats
anywhere
that
else.
you get in London. And,
they're just so full of respect out there towards anything. You go into a petrol station and you buy a can of Coke and a sandwich or something, and you go to pay them, and they're like, "Thank you," and it's like you give them money, thank you, and it's just so sincere. They all live to their hundreds and 90s or hundreds. No one's obese. They're waking up, and the hotel meals that we were getting given was a tray of rice, soup, some raw fish. I was so into it. And down the roads, they've got koi fish in the gutters because the water's so clean. It's, I don't know. I remember coming back the first time, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was my favourite place I've ever been to. Yeah. By a way, a long way.
Mate, if you like your drifting, I take it you did some drifting around Mount Fuji and stuff, did you?
I got given a Suzuki little toaster 3-cylinder rental car. Yeah. And it's right-hand drive as well, because they're the same over there. And
nothing goes like a rental car. Nothing goes like a rental car.
Fastest car in the world, isn't it? So our hotel was down by the, I can't remember the name of the lake, massive lake. We probably had about a 20 to 30 minute journey up to Mount Fuji Raceway.
I know where you are.
And all of the roads, you can get to a certain point, and next minute you see all the tyre marks. Yep. Where they drift. Yep. And I'm like, I pulled over, and Sam, who I was there working with, he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, you don't understand, man. I've seen this bit of road on YouTube. I've just got to get out and take some photos."
It's the Mecca,
like,
isn't it?
What the hell, man? There's just tyre mark. What's going on? I'm like, honestly, this is it. And I drove that road the whole time I was there, and I've been there 3 times now.
Brilliant.
And I've seen, you drive past, I've seen all of the local drifters and stuff. I snuck out one night. Actually, everyone was going for beers at the bar, and I was like, "Oh, I'm tired, long day." Grabbed the keys, and I went up into the hills, and they were there, man. They were there because it was a weekend, and I was in my element. I had a great time. So
Beautiful.
I've not been back for a few years now, but one day I've said to Megan I'd love to take her because, like, as a family, I think there's so much to do there.
Definitely. I've said to my wife, to Nikki, I would love to take her back to Japan. I ended up crashing in Japan, and I ended up living with an Australian expat guy and his Japanese wife and their family, and I lived with them for about 3.5 weeks. And
so you as in you fell off, sort of crashed?
Oh yeah, it's on YouTube.
And stayed.
Yeah.
Is it?
I was trying. I'd met up with this expat biking group over there, Gaijin riders, and It just so happened to be the same time of year as their annual family barbecue, right at the bottom of Mount Fuji. So they said, "Come along,
fair play."
Come stay with us. We'd love to hear your stories. Have some beer, eat some food. Beautiful, sounds perfect. So I did that, and during the course of the night, they were saying, what's your plans? Where you going? And I literally had only scheduled. After doing Russia, I went to South Korea, and then from South Korea to Japan, and then from Japan I was going to Thailand, and I gave myself 4 days in Japan. It's nuts, ridiculous, it's crazy.
Looking back, probably not enough, is it?
No, not at all. So my plan was literally to go from there to Motegi, because I was trying to do all the MotoGP circuits and get a picture at all the try and blag my way on to do a lap, but I only managed a couple. So my plan was to go to Motegi, then straight to Tokyo, sort out the shipping, job done. So these two guys, there's a Russian guy and a Kiwi guy, said, we know some great mountain roads, we'll take you to Motegi. So I said, beautiful, let's do it. So we went for a ride, and these guys were quick, they were rapid, they were proper good riders. So we're having a bit of fun, then we pulled over for some fuel, and the Kiwi chap said, give me the camera, and you go in front, I'll film you, and you'll get some on-bike footage.
It's the camera, man. I'm telling you.
Well,
blame the camera.
It lit a little fire in the devil of me. And
As it does.
I'm in Japan on a jigsaw. I've got to get my knee down. So that was it. So every bend, I'm literally sticking my knee out and trying to get my knee down.
Go on, get it down.
This bend, I nearly got it down on one, and I thought, right, next one, death or glory, we're going for it. And it was just a excuse the term, but it was a clusterfuck from the word go. Really, I hit a little bump in the road. I buckled both my wheels, which I didn't realise crossing Russia. So as I sort of hit this bump and the front came up in the air, when I touched the brakes, it locked the front. So when the front came down, I went into a bit of a front wheel skid. I came off the brakes. That pushed me wide onto gravel. By now, I'm staring at the barrier. The hoarding at the side of the road.
Yeah.
As soon as I touched the brakes, obviously on gravel, both it just went. So I face planted straight into the barrier and smashed the front of the bike up. But as it is when you're away travelling, the guys that I was with made sure I was okay, and then said, "Don't worry about it. We've got a mate who's got a van. He'll come and pick your bike up. He's
get the bike, fix it up, get you on your way.
He's a bit of a mechanic. Don't worry about it. We'll sort you out." So sat there for a couple of hours, and then this lad called Pete turned up. This Aussie lad, Pete, and he's
Pete, Aussie Pete.
Yeah, and you know when you meet somebody who you just gel with straight away.
Yeah,
literally,
for sure.
Straight away. As soon as he turned up, he took the piss, and I was just like, "Yeah,
all right, we're there, are we?"
Yeah, I was like, I could see where this is going, and he was like, "Yeah, don't worry about it, mate. Typical Aussie. No worries. Come back, you stay with me. We'll fix your bike up.
Yeah.
It'll be right." So the next thing, I'm in this truck. We've lifted the bike up onto the back of this little Suzuki flatbed, and we go back to the barbecue that I'd been at the night before. And I'm introduced to his family, and 3.5 weeks later, I'm saying goodbye.
Oh my god!
It was just meant, and I still keep in touch with him to this day. He's just
friends for life.
So I would love to take my wife over to Japan. She gets to meet Pete and Akiko and their kids, and we go and do a bit of travel.
Definitely,
it's a beautiful
island.
Get that
done.
Yeah, awesome place.
Oh, that's ace, man. What a nice story that is.
Yeah, that's what I love about. I love that about travel, and overland travel in particular, in that you can spend time. If once you let go of the whole schedule thing and just go where the trip takes you.
Dude, this is what Lyndon said to me. You go there. you wouldn't go traveling without a game plan. And he's like, I'll go somewhere with a plan. Next minute, I'll meet someone.
Yeah.
Next minute, like you say, you're there for two weeks, maybe more.
Yeah.
And it throws everything else off. But that doesn't matter because you're just going with the flow, aren't you? So that's what if I was ever going to do it, I'd like to just kind of think on the fly and hope that I bump into nice people, because stuff, when that happens, it's magical, isn't it? You can't plan for that.
It's the best part of the trip, and that's when the trip comes alive, is when that sort of stuff happens. Yeah, definitely. I had this chap on the podcast, not last week, week before. He's a chap called Sam Manicum, and he's
I've got to watch that one. I've not seen it yet.
He will make you feel like an utter shit. He will make you feel like you are the worst person on the planet, because Sam is the nicest guy alive. He really is.
Awesome.
He's like he's just such a nice, genuine, balanced bloke, you know.
Lovely.
He's a joy to speak to and listen to. But he went away on his trip. He passed his bike test, and 6 weeks later he's in the Sahara Desert.
Get in there, like.
And then, and 8 years it took him to do his trip. He did
around.
He did 200,000. I did 74,000 miles, 54 countries in about a year and a half. He did 200,000 miles in 52 countries in 8 and a bit years. Like Sam literally, he doesn't go through a country, he explores it. You know, it's like if he's going down a road and he sees a little track to the left, well, I'll take the track.
Fucking go see where that goes.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the way to do it. If you can, that is the way to do it. Yeah. Are you okay for time?
I've got nowhere to... Well, I mean, Meg knows that this could take 1 or 3 hours, so she's cool. I'll call her when we're done. She's going to come and scoop me up.
Nice one. Mate, I just realised, I just come back from having a pee there, and I walked into this room. It's like a sauna. Jeez, it's so
hot here as well. Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm...
for the cause.
It's the only reason I'm drinking, obviously.
I know, that's why I'm 5 in.
You 5 in?
Trying to stay hydrated.
Yeah, me too. Fucking hell, 5.
Stay hydrated.
Jesus.
They're going down. What can I say? That trip up the mountain this morning, well, I need it.
You got to replenish those 1,800 calories, mate. Right, okay, next question. GD Shui. I think we've covered it. How many Dakar rallies have you covered? What's your favourite rally? South Africa, America, Saudi? We covered that, haven't we?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right. What else we got here? Here's a good one. Barney's Lanes. Gear and dust management in Dakar and Africa Eco Race. Discuss. How did you find it? God, yeah. It's got to be an industrial one, is it?
It was, I don't know, £5 off. £5 off Amazon. Yeah, it was nothing. It was a last minute thing. We ended up buying 2 new MacBook laptops, and all of our kit was going. And last minute, I was like, "Oh shit!" I remember Dakar being dusty. We should get like a little Hoover. Genuinely, the most important team member of the trip. Twice a day, we'd sit there, hoover the laptops, hoover the lenses, cameras, everything. That was the dust management, basically, and it was £4 or £5 off Amazon. So
Jesus, that sand gets everywhere, doesn't it?
Oh my God! I mean, Dakar was bad because I didn't have that, and I'd get back and all my lenses were like gritty, and I could feel everything crunching, and we had a pretty new MacBook there as well, and that thing was fucked. You'd be in a media tent, happy as, and the next minute, this only happened in Dakar, but it was in Peru, and the next minute the tent doors just blew open, and a whole sandstorm whipped through. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you sat there like trying to cover everything, and when it's gone, you could literally write your name on the laptop.
Jesus.
Draw penises on the laptop and all that. The first thing I did, and took a photo of it, because it was like a good few millimeters thick, and I'm like, what can you do about that? Yeah. It's gone everywhere. So it wasn't as bad in Africa, for sure, but Dakar was ruthless.
Those sandstorms are just, I mean...
They come from nowhere. They're absolutely nowhere, and then they go as quick as they arrive.
Yeah, and it's literally like someone out the movies, isn't it? You're just like, what the fuck is definitely that? And then whack, it hits you.
boom, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And everyone's just sat there like trying to rub their eyes, and then you have to carry on working. And it was there where I saw some fella whip this out, a photographer whip this out, and he was all on his laptop keyboard. I was like, mate, what an absolute purchase that is. He let me use it a few times, but so that, yeah, that's why I bought that.
So I take it you must use like SSD hard drives and stuff, do you?
Yeah. Dakar, we had a couple, and from then it was like very apparent that you need stuff that, God forbid, if you take a bump or something happens, you need something that's, you know. So I used the G-Tech. Shockproof, weatherproof. They just meant, you know, bang them in the laptop. And each day we'd back up to another drive. And then I think at any one point we had 3 copies of everything basically for super, you know, so we were super safe. Me and Andy both had a copy, and then there was another backup.
Yeah. The reason I ask is I fell foul of that on my trip. Like I set off on the world trip, and I didn't. I'm not saying I do now, but I didn't know how to edit videos I didn't know anything when I set off. You know, bear in mind I'd had 3 years of planning. I didn't think that maybe I should learn how to edit, how to film and how to edit before I went. So I had bought a cheap little external hard drive. I think it was like a 500 gig one or something. That'll do me for my round the world trip. Off we go. And bear in mind it was like 720 my footage. It wasn't even 1080.
Yeah, a lot of Lyndon stuff from Racers Places is as well.
Is it?
Just purely because you just, you know, if it's going on YouTube, you don't need the difference between 720 and 1080 is it's not noticeable. Right. And the amount of size, as you'll know, you can save with 720 is huge. It's half, isn't it? So
it's like the fad now is 4K, isn't it? And it's just obscene.
4K, yeah. We shot the whole eco race in 1080 purely because everyone that's watching YouTube, I'm going to say probably the majority on a mobile phone. You know, on the sofa, sat there. If you film something in 4K or 1080, you're never going to know the difference. And all you're going to know is the price of buying more hard drives because you're tucking through them. Yep. So 4K is amazing for some things, but for 1080 is still, in my opinion, is still absolutely spot on for web. Definitely. Yeah,
that's all I do. I film in 2.7, but then I downscale it for my I film and I edit at 2.7, but it's downscaled to 1080 once you put it onto YouTube anyway. So
so like all the slow-mo footage that everyone will see from the eco race, that's 1080 because I use a Panasonic GH5.
Oh yeah.
When they shoot high frame rate, it's 1080. They'll shoot awesome 4K, but at the end of the day, we shoot a lot of slow-mo because it just looks awesome.
Yeah.
So
you can stabilise that as well, can't you? It just looks better.
Yeah, exactly. They have 3-way stabilizers in the camera, so it's unreal how smooth you can get the stuff to be. But that slow-mo footage will upscale to 4K really nicely as well, depending where you are. Yeah. If you're somewhere like if you're in trees or in a plantation, you'll get the aliasing, you know, like where you see the lines. Yeah. On footage where it loses the quality, but normally it's all right. So, but yeah, 1080 is the one I think for certainly for the, you know, for the future as well.
Have you seen that new Sony camera that's come out? It's marketed specifically at the vlogger. What is it? The Z1 or something, or the V1? Or?
I get like CVP and a couple of websites send me emails all the time. New Sony camera. I've seen what it looks like. I think because it's not what I'm looking for. I've not gone and read up and done some digging on it. But that's a huge market, you know.
Massive.
So I'm sure if it's good, they'll sell tons of those cameras.
The money that, like YouTube has this draw, doesn't it? People think, I'll get on YouTube, I'll become a millionaire. People will give me loads of stuff, and good luck to you. But
honestly, good luck.
In my experience, it don't work like that.
It's pot luck, I think. It's like being an artist, I think, nowadays, because there's so many, like thousands of really talented artists. It comes down to right place, right time, the right person that sees your work. Yeah. And then I mean, the people that have got millions of followers on YouTube, there'll be other people out there doing maybe better stuff. Yeah. But they've just not been lucky enough to be discovered.
Yeah. It'll open doors for you, doesn't it? And it's It's just a question of making use of the doors and the opportunities that arise.
If you don't do it, then you're never in for a fighting chance.
That's it. And no one's shit hot when they first start. People are shit when they start, and you just have to build, don't you? And
that's what it's all about. Yeah. Each time you do something, you bet yourself.
Yeah. Here's a good one. BTEC Biker. What's your biggest achievement?
Biggest achievement? I'm going to have to say leaving full-time employment and going self-employed and making it work. That was a big risk. And I tried very hard to make it work. So I did a lot of stuff for free at the beginning. When I left Greenlight, I had a whole portfolio of stuff that I'd done for them. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't put that into a showreel for myself because it wasn't all me. You know, there was other camera crew, there was the stuff I'd produced, the stuff I'd edited, stuff I'd shot, but I couldn't use that because it wasn't my work. So I was basically starting from scratch. So I handed my notice in at Greenlight. I gave them like half a year of notice. I said, I still work up until August. This was Christmas or something. I'll still work up till August, do everything that you've got me booked in for. And that gave me enough time to save up some money. Then I bought a camera, bought an FS700 Sony, which I'm actually using to film this on. And I don't use it very often. It's just really good for audio. Yeah. It's the first time it's been out of the box in a while. But I bought that, and I ended up actually approaching companies saying, look, I'll do your video for free as long as you sort of say I did it and promote it. So I went and did like a car valeter. I did all sorts of stuff. I think I did like a dance school. I did...
What, all based around the Isle of Man?
All stuff on the Isle of Man, yeah. Just went to people, say, look, I'm new at this. I've not got any work to show people. Can I come and make you a video? You get a video for free, as long as you put my name out there. And from that, slowly snowballed. And then next minute, people are contacting you. And then, the last 2 years, I've not sponsored anything or advertised. It's just all sort of coming in naturally from word of mouth and people seeing our work. So
it's interesting.
My biggest achievement, I think, taking the risk and going self-employed, because it's sink or swim, isn't it? So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because my son has basically done the same thing that you did, and that he used to work for a company in Glasgow called 29 Studios. Like, my son's a videographer, but he had the life that I wanted. I was stuck in the old bill, and he was flying around the world filming and editing videos, and I was just like, oh man, I wish that sort of thing was
available. And
if I'd known about it, And then as luck would have it, life took the route it took, and I ended up resigning from the old bill, and now it's my life. But my boy has made the decision that you made, and he left that company, did the same thing, said to them, I will still freelance for you, but he's
I still want to work with you, but
he's setting himself up now in Glasgow and doing his own thing. And
awesome. The thing is, the work's there. There's always work there if you're a grafter, and if you put the time and effort in and really try, you're never going to not have work. I think anyone that wants to do it and thinks it's just going to come to you, you're wrong. You're going to have to put the hours in. You'll have to do Friday nights, and you'll have to work weekends. And before you know it, all that stuff stops happening because you've got a client base then.
I'm a firm believer in that. I know some people have horrific times in life, and they've got my sympathies and all that. But I do think a lot of the time, success will come if you put the graft in, and if you
come for free.
No, you've got to put the groundwork in. You've got to go through the rough times, and you've got to adapt. You've got to realise, okay, maybe this route I'm going down, or this method, maybe this isn't working. What do I do to combat that? What do I do?
You got to be flexible. You have to be flexible, on your toes all the time, and you have to adapt. Especially nowadays, like, technology's moving so quick. 1 minute you're making videos, next minute you have to learn how to do animation because people want you to be multitasking now. You need to be good at doing lots of stuff. Back in the day, if you were a cameraman, that was your job.
Yeah.
Now you need to be able to film, edit, audio,
sound,
mix, do graphics.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's now a truly international marketplace. So
It is, yeah.
you living in the Isle of Man with the cost of living that you have, you're now competing with the chap or lady in Bangladesh who can live for, you know, £100 for a month, whereas you need an X amount of figure for a job. You know, my mate Wisai, he's an illustrator. And
awesome!
That's he's been doing it 50 odd years, so he's come right through the boom.
So he's rode the wave.
Oh yeah, but he's now finding it really hard because that's the he's up against the Fiverr market now. You know where for him he's a perfectionist and a true artist. You know, he's a proper artist. His work is phenomenal, but he in his head says, "Well, I used to get paid X amount of thousand for this. Why
but now people know that they can go on Fiverr
for 20 quid, 25
quid and get a logo?
And he's like, but it's shit. It's shit. You know, that's not. It's not graphically correct. It's not artistically correct. And you're like, it's the market that he's struggling to adapt to that. Yeah.
This is it. I think also people being educated that want work doing. You go to Fiverr, you pay 20 quid, you get a logo done, you pay 20 quid for it, you get a JPEG. As soon as you take that to a printer to get a t-shirt made, or you want your logo put on a van, then they turn around and say, oh, it's all pixelated, it's shit quality. It's like, well, fuck, I paid 20 quid for it, I can't argue with that. Whereas if you go to a designer, you get branding done, you pay a few grand, you're sorted then, and that puts you out in front of everyone else in your market. Good branding. I mean, like, Brewdog are the kings. Brewdog, man, honestly, they're doing everything right. You can tell that
Dario, is that Brewdog? Brewdog IPA?
Punk IPA. Yes, great beer, you should drink some. But, like, there's how many IPA, like, fucking breweries are there? It's the ones that take that extra effort and spend the money with real designers. It stands out a mile away.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's educating people. The Isle of Man's catching up. People are starting to learn. A few years ago, we'd send quotes off for stuff, and they'd be like, "Well, I can't afford that." And we've had it a few times where people have come back and gone, "Oh, actually, can we still do that?" You know, we realise that it's actually not that bad. But it doesn't help with Fiverr and stuff. I mean, obviously, for some people, it's perfect, but you get what you pay for, unfortunately.
That's key, innit? You get what you pay for. Absolutely. Nothing in life is free. Yeah. Right. JCES Null. Some people have weird tag names, don't they?
Yeah, the usernames.
Yeah, JCES Null Vicious. Did Dario go to... Oh, I think we covered this. Did Dario go to film school, or are you self-educated?
Self-educated, yeah. Through and through. Yeah, a lot of it I owe to Greenlight. I knew how to use a camera, and then I arrived there, and it was like, well, hang on, we can clearly see you can use a camera, but now you're filming inside with arena lighting. You need to change your frame rate so you don't get flickering. You need to set they did all this stuff, and they showed me. I knew how to film. They just built on it and turned me into like someone that actually really knows the way around the camera, depending wherever you're filming.
Yeah.
But a lot of it, is self-taught and experiment, and then learning from going out filming something, thinking, oh, fuck, I can't wait to look at that footage. Getting back on your laptop and being like, that is unusable. That's shit. What was that?
Yeah, I'm
heartbreaking.
Before, well, I still do it now, because now I've got ND filters and polarizing filters for like my GoPro and for the drone.
Yeah,
I just bought the new.
Difference.
Well, I've got them, and I rarely use them. So I get home and it's like, that's all overexposed. Fuck, it's all blown out, and you're like, oh shit. The GoPro's not too bad on the bike, but drone, the amount of drone footage that it's just I've had to bin it because you're like, I can't use that. It's dog shit.
I bought the drone, and at the same time I bought the ND kit for it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just bought that.
You learn as you go, and you learn as you go with stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to admit,
it's just annoying.
Frame rates, ISO, all that. That's still like Latin to me at the moment. I'm sort of tentatively going in there.
Like someone basically loads of people are trying to explain it their own way. You'll find one person that'll put it a certain way, and you'll go, "Oh fuck! Actually, I understand that now." They'll refer it to something, and it'll just make sense to you. Like it clicked for me a few years ago, ISO and aperture and all this stuff. And before it was almost like not guessing, but I just did on the camera what looked good.
Yeah.
Now I understand why it looks good, and why you should have it set at a certain thing. So like honestly, one day someone will do it and you'll ping, a light will come on, you'll be like, oh my god, I get that now.
Right, I'll bring a
Up
camera.
until then you're just blagging it the whole way, like yeah, I can film that, I know what's going on, I don't know what's happening.
Chuck it in auto. Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
I'll bring a camera with me when I come to the Isle of Man then.
Oh, and if you don't, we've got loads here that you can take anyway.
Spot on. I'm up for that. I'm up for that, man. Definitely.
Yeah, do you know we should film something when you come over?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, you're writing checks now.
Loads of places we can... No, I'm just saying.
Right, I'm there.
We should definitely do a little feature or something, definitely, just for fun.
I'd love to. Yeah, that would be mint. Right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, small bear on a bike. What's your ratio between all the hours of material versus what makes the edit?
Oh my god. So, me, Andy and Luke are all as bad as each other. We're so bad for over-filming. When I first started, and even at Greenlight, I'd go to jobs, and I got pulled in by my old boss, and he was like, look, you've not filmed enough, and you've not held record on. I've gone and found for example, I remember being at an event, and I was filming bikes, all the super enduro bikes, filming number plates, and I was holding, aiming at number 1 plate, Taddy Blazuziak, 3 seconds. I'm like, that's spot on. I get back, and the editor was like, mate, none of your clips are long enough. It's like, shit. Oh god, I'm sorry. And then I learnt you have to like...
It's 7 seconds, isn't it?
Wait, 5, yeah, exactly, even more sometimes. But since then, I film so much more than I need, but that gives you the choice. When you do the edit, you've got options.
Absolutely.
In terms of ratios, I'm going to say, so for Eco Race, we actually used a lot of the footage. There's not too much that got left. Maybe 70%, 60% got used each day.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe more, actually.
Bloody hell.
Certainly with Dakar, I used like 30% every day. There was so much shit. We actually did like a best of at the end, and they gave us permission to do like a big extended version. So I took loads of stuff in no one had seen. But normal day-to-day stuff, I try and use everything. But there's definitely like 30-20% that doesn't ever get seen.
Yeah, I do my... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, that's where you try and come in and be like, look, 2 months' time, 3 months' time, we can do a re-edit and we can use the shit we've not used, and we'll give you a discounted rate and all that. And you try and work that in to almost give you more work and also prolong their investment in what you've offered them, basically.
Yeah. That's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, the business side of it.
Yeah.
Like when I do my tours and I take the punters away, I film because I'll do I do my YouTube vids based around the trip away as well.
Yeah.
But I'll end up with there must be an easier, quicker way of editing. But the way I edit is I break it down into days generally. So I'll take all that day's footage and put it all out on the timeline chronologically, and then I'll sync all my cameras up. So the various 2 or 3 cameras I use, my phone if I do off-bike footage, the punters, drone. I put it all. I do all proxy files, and then I put everything out there. So I might end up with 8.
So you proxy edit as well?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
My computer will fall over. So
do you use Premiere Pro? Do you or
Final Cut? I use Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut.
Yeah.
Final Cut.
I don't know how to use Premiere, to be honest. I've always used Final Cut.
Yeah. They're all the same, just different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm the same as you. I'll get everything I've shot and I'll put everything on a timeline.
Oh, do you?
And then, yeah. I mean, again, different editors have different ways of doing it. Some people go in the bin and drag the bit out they like, but I put everything normally in camera, GH5, 700, drone, GoPro, spread it all out. You end up with like 8 hours of footage. And I go through and everything I like, I lift up a channel.
Yeah.
So I scan through, lift up a bit, cut this bit, and then I ended up with loads of stuff on the next channel, delete everything underneath it, and then I've got everything that's usable, and that's what I'm working with then. It's a longer way of doing it, but I feel like you don't miss stuff out there. You get the best of what you've shot, as opposed to dragging and dropping from the bin.
I'm glad you do that. That's exactly what I do. So you go from like 8 hours down to maybe 2.5, and then you've got to try and
then
get
again down.
You keep going and going and going and going. Oh, it takes fucking days.
You get the best edit then, because you're not going to miss anything. You won't miss a shot. You see everything. You can move stuff around. What works best together.
Yeah.
So I do it exactly the same.
So I know some of my sort of motovloggy YouTube mates, the way they do it is they'll literally just pull some clips out of the bin, and they just edit a sequence. That's that bit done. Pull the next bit out, edit it all together, create a sequence. Yeah. And I'm just like, how'd you do that? I need to see it. Yeah. I've got to. I'm visual. I've got to see it all laid out.
I'm the same as you. Yeah. There's actually in Premiere, there's a way of almost doing like an auto edit, where you can sit there and you tap the keyboard, and whatever footage you've got on the timeline, it puts it in an order and cuts it to a beat that you do with your hand. I've never done it yet, but Andy's used it a few times when he's been, a tight deadline, and it's ruthless because you don't know what you're going to get. But sometimes he was saying, like, look, they're paying nothing for what we're doing. This has literally got to be done quick, and he's very good like that. Whereas me, I'm like, no, everything's precious. I have to make everything as good as I can, but. So I've not learned how to do that yet, unfortunately.
Mate, those auto edits, like the GoPro auto edits and stuff. I have punters come away, and for me, I'm generally, you're probably after a trip, you're probably looking at a minimum of a month before I'll get the first vid out, right? And like these guys that I take away with me will sit in the calf having a coffee at like the 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock stop, and they're on the phone and they just generate a little video auto generated from what we've just done, and they're like, there's nothing to this editing, Lark, look, there you go. And you're like, shit, that's actually pretty good, bastard.
You have to be like, oh yeah, I can do that. I just don't. We're just perfectionists, aren't we?
Oh well. Yeah, I think, at least you've got something to live up to. I'm blagging it. Gary Cooper. Did Dario get any footage of his foot toe being dissected?
Oh, Gary.
Whilst filming?
Gary's he's a local, he lives over here, and he actually runs and looks after a 24-hour annual mountain bike event. Yeah. So it's at a plantation. It's one big circuit. 24 hours. You can come in teams of 2, 4, 6, so you can do it on your own and basically just do as many laps as you can.
That's the LDR, isn't it? LDLR?
The LDLR, longest day, longest ride. It's on the summer equinox or whatever, the longest day.
Right.
2 years ago I was doing it, and I was limping round because my foot was just so sore. And he's like, what's going on with you? I don't know, my toe's just absolutely killing me, and pulled my sock off, and my toe looked like a tomato, and it was one of my, the third toe along. It was just massive, and it got to a point where I couldn't walk anymore. And I'm like, I'm not a wussy, like, I'll grit my teeth and crack on, but this was like unbearable. I had to go to A&E, so I left the event, went to A&E. The guy up there, he wouldn't let me film it, which was a bit annoying because it was one of those like gross but satisfying things. Yeah. He sliced it open, put like a cross in it, and all the shit came out my toe. And he was saying it looked like a spider bite.
Wow.
Or an insect bite. And I'm like, insect bite? The Alaman's not got anything nasty, but I think like the week before I was away in Europe. So I don't know, it could have been anything, but either way, Gary and his wife Claire, they just thought it was really amusing that this toe came back and it looked like a firework had gone off on it. It was all fucked, but I got back within a couple of hours and finished the event. But yeah, he just keeps reminding me of it because it was just a bit gross. Like,
so they wouldn't let you film it.
No, in the hospital they wouldn't let. I was like, come on, man, it's not every day that your toe looks like this. Do you mind if I film?
It's your
the
toe,
shit
isn't it?
That's going to come out of it, because people like, weirdly, people like looking at stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll admit as well, sometimes I can't take my eyes off it, even though it's gross. But yeah, he was like, no, we can't do it.
Have you seen those vids on YouTube where people like they burst boils?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time I can't look because I'm a bit squeamish, but sometimes it's just so fascinating. How do you let it get to that point where I don't know. Yeah.
I remember I'm hoping it's finished, but I went through a period a year or two ago where I had a nightmare on bikes. I think I had 3 or 4 accidents in the space of about 2 years, and all commuting in and out of London.
Oh,
It's just
bad ones.
Yeah, one
crash is bad, really, isn't it?
One was bad. I ended up. I was going up heading home after night duty and going down the Old Kent Road. It was all on the same sort of 2-mile stretch of road, Old Kent Road in South London. And a nurse, believe it or not, pulled out in front of me. Just came from a side road. So I T-packed into her car. I wrote a car off. I basically rugby tackled this.
It.
Yeah, I rugby tackled the rear passenger door. I sort of slammed my brakes on, but threw myself over the bike and just rugby tackled the car. But it popped my shoulder out. So I ended up in casualty. And my wife, she was at work that day. She turned up for a day duty. So obviously they said to her, right, you need to go to hospital. So she came and saw me at the hospital. And she filmed it. So I was like 5.5. No, that happened at 7. Yeah, 5.5 hours before they realised I'd dislocated my shoulder. So I'd been sat in the bed.
Your shoulder was out.
Yeah. It was just I thought I'd broke my arm. To be honest, it was just I've never felt pain like it.
Yeah,
and
I've done my shoulder before as well, so I know I saw it.
Fucking agony. So when they tried to put it back in, they tried 3 different ways of doing it and stuff.
Yeah.
And Nikki was like, "Oh, I'll film it," and I was like, "Don't film it, don't film it." And she said, "Trust me, I'll film it. You will thank me." So she filmed whilst they're trying to pull my shoulder in and do all this stuff, and the doctors were just looking at her like, "What?" And she's like, "He's got a YouTube channel."
Yeah, it's good. It's good content. We've got to roll on this. Just forget I'm here.
Yeah, so it's there. It's on one of my vids. Yeah, bloody hell.
Did it like suck in? Like it's like a magnet. Like
I think because it had been out so long, the first time they tried to put it in, it didn't go in. The second time they tried to do it, they basically had a sling wrapped around my wrist, and one guy was pulling my arm that way, and then they had a bed sheet wrapped around my top half, and this little wee Malaysian nurse was pulling that way, and my shoulder eventually went in, but as soon as it went in, you can hear it on camera, it came out again.
It's like a sucking noise, isn't it?
Well, it went in and then came out again, and they then had to get me into a ward and knock me out and whack it back in.
Yeah.
But oh man, just I've never felt pain like that.
Nah, you don't need that, do
you? Right, Simon Thessa. Wait, Simone. Sorry, Simone. Simone Thessa.
Oh yeah, Simone.
Do you know Simone? Do you?
Yeah.
All right. She said
just through Instagram.
Oh, okay, right. Saying how did you and Lyndon get to know each other? So we touched on that earlier, but we never did actually go into it.
I was going to explain it. So it was the Christmas before the 2018 Dakar, and I'm like minding my own business, just doing my shit, and next minute I get a message from Lyndon, this guy Lyndon, and he was like, "Hey man, my name's Lyndon. Basically, did he explain what he was doing?" And he was like, "Your friend Sam Travis, who's a guy that I worked with at Greenlight, he's moved to Manchester now, has his own production company, and we sort of work together still. But he basically said, look, I can't do the work, but I know someone that can do the whole same edit, film, delivery in one day. Dario, give him a shout." So next minute, I'm like going from pretty calm, quiet run up to Christmas. This is sweet. Next minute, Lyndon's messaging me and he's like, "Can you tell me more about yourself? This is the project. It's like I'm really stressing because the guy that was gonna do it can't do it now, and all of my fans have basically donated a ton of money for this thing to work, so I have no choice but to make this work." So I could see that he was I could see instantly he was stressing big time, and the situation was clear that a load of people had given him money for this thing that he'd promised, this product, and he'd been let down through no fault of anyone's. It was just one of those things. So he's like, "Can you please tell me about yourself?" So I was, oh my god, fucking hell, Dakar Rally, Jesus, that's a dream. That's bucket list stuff. I sent an email with all of the stuff I'd done for Greenlight, all of the work I'd done. I sent him my Instagram, my my dog's got an Instagram. I'm not ashamed to say. I'm like, dude, check my dog's Instagram out. Check this. I basically sent him everything. I was like, just check me out. This is what I'm about.
Yeah.
Rang him up, and I think that was like 5 days before Christmas. Next minute, my flight's booked, and I'm going to Peru on New Year's Day. So I couldn't get really messy on New Year. Unfortunately, I was up early. But yeah, the next minute I'm traveling out to Peru, and I arrive in Lima, and I'd never met Lyndon face to face before. And next minute I'm in the hotel, and I'm shaking his hand, and we've chatted loads on the phone, and we literally, like, within an hour of me being there, I had my camera out and I was filming him, like, prepping his bike. And from that moment, like, you know, you were saying earlier, you meet someone and you gel.
Yep.
Him and Uncle Rick, I got there, they were making jokes straight away. They made me feel like I was a bit nervous because, like, you are when you meet someone, especially I knew how high pressure it was.
Yeah.
And he just put me at ease, and he was like, dude, we're going to have a great time. Like, all you have to do is do what you do, film me, have fun, da-da-da. And next minute, we're here now, and I've done loads of projects with them.
Fantastic.
But something not many people know is I brought my Windows laptop to Peru, and I literally spent 300 quid getting it serviced before I went. So I'm like, right, I've got a big job coming. It's a 3-week daily edit job. I gave it to an engineer that I always use for stuff. He's super great. Paid a load of money, basically wiped it, start from scratch, fresh computer. First day, the day before the event started, so the day before the first stage, and this thing dies on me. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? At that point, the software that I used was the same I used at Greenlight, and it's a Windows-only software called Edius for editing. Not many people know about it. Edius Pro, it's called. It's amazing, very quick. It renders in the background. It's just efficient, but they don't make it for Mac. And Lyndon's like, well, dude, if your laptop's broke, I've got this MacBook with Premiere Pro. And I'm like, fuck, I've never used Premiere Pro in my life.
Pressure.
I had to learn Premiere Pro on the fly, man.
What?
So yeah, I learned
for
a new
a full-on
software
professional
like there,
job.
I was that night.
Wow.
I didn't sleep. I'd sat up watching YouTube tutorials, wrote a load of shortcuts down on a pad, memorized where export and all the stuff I needed. Basically wrote it down, and I had to learn how to use Premiere. And from that day, I've been a Premiere Pro user because it's just fucking awesome. But it was just a fun thing that happened. That at the time I wanted to kill myself.
Blimey.
So
isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird what life throws at you? You know, and it's just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you think to yourself, well, you know, yeah, I often think that. I think, well, what sometimes just feels like an insurmountable object is something which is just, it's the end of your road. You figure out a way by it, don't you? And it opens up a whole different new alleyway to you. Yeah.
Just when you think stuff's going a certain way, the next minute curveball comes in, changes everything.
Yeah.
So since then I've been doing stuff with Lyndon. It's led on to stuff with Motorex, and then Eco Race. So it's been fantastic. And like also I made a very good friend in Lyndon, and like he's a very close friend. I'm actually waiting for Spain to. I mean, they're going back to normal now, aren't they? From like lockdown and stuff.
As of 1st of July, like my mate Lyndon. They're welcoming punters from the 1st of July, I believe. So
basically, as soon as I'm good, and well, I think Hallie needs to get a little bit older to the point where I can leave for a few days. But he said as soon as you can. Like me and Andy are going to go down and rent bikes. We go ride for a bit, and he's got loads of trails down there that we're going to go and just have some fun, basically. And so I'm waiting for that moment. Very excited. Mate,
that first, I'm the same. That first trip, the first trip, sort of UK wide, I can't wait for. Just, I probably could do it around England at the moment, but I don't feel right. You know, I don't feel right sharing anything like that on social media because. It's just not, for me, it's just not right at the moment. But that first time that we can actually just get out and go up into Scotland or go into Wales, just go, and then cross into Europe again. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Really makes you appreciate it, doesn't it?
Well, on Monday, just gone. So, what are we, the 18th? So, a couple of days ago, the Isle of Man, like, we're back to normal. Lockdown's done.
Oh, yeah.
Pubs are open, gyms are open. Like, we're I think, the second place in Europe to like, eradicate COVID completely. So But the borders are remaining closed. I think people that are a Manx passport holder can come back. They have to then self-isolate for 2 weeks or whatever. But
Fair enough.
I think by now, anyone that was away that wants to come back has come back. So we're like in our own little bubble at the minute, which is kind of weird, but also kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's just hard watching the rest of the place fall apart. It's just so different.
Isn't it amazing? I'm not going to get into politics or anything, but isn't it amazing how quickly things changed, and that it was almost like COVID hit and people had a newfound appreciation for each other and just what life's all about and what's important in life. And then one horrible, horrific, tragic, wrong event happens, and yet it seems to just have ignited anger.
Oh, so much rage.
Anger. Yeah, and you're like, whoa, just...
Where's it come from?
Yeah, and there's two sides, at least two sides to every story. I totally understand that. I get that. And as a white bloke, okay, I can't comment on a lot of things, but wow, the rage.
I think for people, I'm just going to assume here, but for people like us, I'm going to put us in the same category here, but people like us who have never thought anything about that, to me, it's no issue at all. So now this is happening. It's shocking to me because I've never ever had a negative view on anything like that. Now it's all happening. It's almost been like, shit, all these other people have got that view, and it's 2020, and I thought that shit ended decades ago. Yeah. So it's actually been kind of difficult to like digest that.
My experience of it, and this will probably raise quite a few eyebrows. I probably shouldn't go down this route, but fuck it. Obviously, I was a copper. I was a copper in London. I was a copper in the Metropolitan Police, which a lot of the people out there will go, well, straight away, the most racist organisation going. My experience of it was the polar opposite. Absolute polar opposite. And, I look at what happened to George Floyd, and, no part of my police tactical brain can justify what that copper did. I could understand maybe kneeling on the bloke for 20, 30 seconds, maybe even a minute.
Just to gain control.
If he was bolo, because I know how crazy people can get. There's a thing called excited delirium.
Well, you've experienced it, haven't you?
I have.
Being in the police, so you'll know a completely different angle from everyone else that's looking in from it. Yeah.
But for 8 minutes, I cannot, there's not a bone in my body that would, for me, to be in that position, and I know 5 minutes can go by like that. But I know...
in the moment.
If I had 3 muckers with me, 3 colleagues, if things had gone on for that, my colleagues would step in and go, "That's not right. That's whoa, you've been on him too long. That's enough." But I've looked at that footage. I've looked at loads of different videos of it, and you can't justify it in any shape or form. But it seems to be that the American cops don't get the suspect and casualty handling training that we get in the UK. It's like for 15, 20 years, we've known about this thing called excited delirium, and it's a phenomenon where people either they get in my terminology's wrong, might be wrong here, so I'd apologise, but people get in a mental state, whether through drugs or through just mental imbalance or
adrenaline.
whatever. Yes, they get into the state where literally they work themselves up to a point where they are as excited as you're possibly going to get.
But they're not themselves.
No. It's where you see people lift cars, you see people with superhuman strength, but you often see people stripping off at this point. So you'll see like naked people in the street. That's a big thing to look out for. People that are naked from the waist up or totally naked because the body's overheating. And basically your body keeps getting higher and higher and higher and higher and higher in this state till literally the only end result is death unless medical aid is administered, like proper medical aid from a paramedic, from a doctor. So we know about this in the UK in the police now, and we know that if you experience somebody like that in the street, whether you're trying to arrest them or you just come across them in the street, we know about this, and we know about positional asphyxia, where, you know, if you handcuff somebody behind the back and you lay them face down, then just the sheer weight of their body can stop them,
restrict them.
Yeah, can stop the lungs opening and closing. So we know to put people on their sides. We know to monitor casualties and suspects. But the Americans just don't seem to get taught that.
Well, did I read something somewhere? It might be completely false, but I'm sure I read somewhere that barbers go through more hours of training than police.
Wow.
Do you know what? Don't quote me on that. That might be, because again, it's all on the internet and we don't know what's true or false. But I have a pal at home that he basically does jiu-jitsu. He owns a jiu-jitsu. Gracie Barra, I know it's a franchise. He runs the Isle of Man gym.
Right.
And to me, stuff like that, why is that not mandatory?
A lot of coppers are starting to learn jiu-jitsu now. In the UK,
exactly,
I know a lot of my friends, I worked in the firearms division, and a lot of my friends have started doing jiu-jitsu just because it's stuff you need to know. You just, as a copper, you need to know.
Disarm a situation without hurting anyone, but you're in control.
Yeah.
To me, that makes sense.
But and sometimes, especially in the firearms world, sometimes it is life or death, because if they overpower you, they've got your gun. You know, and you know, you go from one extreme to the other. One extreme for where, you know, might be dealing with a shoplifter who just wants to get away, and then the other time you're dealing with
desperation kicks in.
Yeah. The other extreme is you're dealing with Tommy terrorist at London Bridge that's trying to kill everybody and get your gun and shoot people. So it's
every situation's almost its own, isn't it? There's no, you can almost put a framework in, but you have to think on your toes each time. And I'd hate to be in that position to have to make that decision. I
got to admit, I'm glad I'm out, and it's heartbreaking to see, especially in the UK, to see people
the flack.
Yeah, to see people label the police in the UK like with what they think you do, as opposed to what I know we do. And we ain't racist in the UK. Just there might be one or two, but they're bad apples, and you know, I'll knock them out before any member of public
bad apples
would.
Everywhere.
Of course.
Everywhere you go.
It's just not tolerated. You know, it's fucking inhuman. Anyway, let's get off that. Politics.
There you go. Well, we had to touch on it, didn't we?
We did, mate.
One of them. We've done that.
Right. Last one. Oh, actually, there's two more. Are you okay for time?
Yeah, no, I'm fine, yeah.
Cool.
I'm just worried that everyone's going to be like, God, this is boring. Dario's chatting shit.
But I like this. You know, the amount of people that... I would say the views on the podcast stuff are way down on some other vids. But the people that watch it, you know, people are watching for like half an hour or an hour, which on YouTube is... It's nuts.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Like my average...
It's the type of thing you put on in the background, can't you, while you're doing jobs or whatever? You can just listen to it.
Yeah, like my average viewer retention used to be 6 or 7 minutes, which was not bad. It's not bad for like a 20-minute, 25-minute vid. 6 or 7 minutes, it's not bad. Now it's like 25 minutes. So it's... But you don't get the views, but the viewer retention goes right up. Because people watch half an hour of it, go and do something else, come back, watch another half hour.
Come back to it, finish it another day. Yeah.
And to be honest, I love doing these. I just enjoy chatting. So
yeah. I'm the same.
Alan B1, what can you share that Bruce can call Lyndon out on if he ever does a podcast with him? Bad habits, embarrassing stories, etc. Oh, right, now I'm looking at... Yes, hang on. Pen. Right, begin.
Shit, that's a real tough one.
Lyndon, if you're watching this,
Lyndon,
turn off.
Lyndon's got nothing to hide, man. Like, he will strip naked and jump in a lake in front of a load of people on camera. He's not shy at all.
He strikes me as a bloke that wears his heart on his sleeve and just says it as is.
Exactly that. I don't think I can, to be honest. There's, hand on heart, I'm not just saying this because Lyndon's a very close friend and a really good client. I don't think there's anything that I could call him out on. I really don't think so. I'm thinking like fuck, because it would be funny if I could. He just doesn't have anything to hide. He is what he is. Like, camera recording or not, he's the same. Fuck, I can't answer that question.
Do you know, mate? That's really refreshing to hear. That's awesome to hear.
In my opinion, that's like a nod to Lyndon, because he is who he is, and he just doesn't hide anything from anyone. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I can't answer the question.
Cool. Well,
hand on heart.
I hope it happens. I would love to chat with him. So, Lyndon, I'm well up for it if you're watching. I'm definitely up for it.
It'll happen. It'll happen, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right, Youngie5. Question for both of us. Name 3 people you would like to share a beer with, past or present, but only one can be a biker.
Oh, I heard this question when you interviewed Peter Hickman.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I don't ever want to answer that. Shit.
I think I bypassed it. I think I dinghied it and never went back to it with Peter. 3 people who'd like.
See, I'm going to answer it here, and I'll watch this back, and I'll be like,
yeah,
no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
In the moment, do you know, I'd love to chat to Colin McRae.
Wow. Yeah.
I'd really like to chat to Colin McRae. For no reason apart from the fact that he was a beast. I'm really into my music as well, so there's got to be some musicians in there. We're gonna have to pause this. We're gonna have to cut this bit out. I'm thinking here.
Right. I think I've got 2 of my 3, so I'll go now.
Go on.
And then you come to
yeah, go for it.
Right. If only one can be a biker, then it would be Colin Edwards, and I've been lucky enough to meet.
Oh, dude, I've worked with Colin Edwards.
He's awesome, isn't he?
He's so nice. I met him, and he was straight away. He was the friendliest person ever.
Yeah.
I did Moto America with him. He's a legend.
Yeah, brilliant, down to earth. Another one of these people who is exactly like they are on TV, like they are in real life, just genuine.
100%.
Lovely bloke.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have a beer with him, some steak, ride some bikes, have a great time. So that's my biker. Joe Rogan, just because.
Oh, yeah, what a great show.
He got me into this. It was listening to him that made me think, I really like that format. And I love his mentality and his attitude, and that he looks like he's going to be a right-wing thug, but he's probably the most open, spiritual bloke.
So open.
Yeah, he is.
He'll try anything.
Absolutely.
And he'll give you his honest opinion. Yeah, I love his show.
So I would love to have a good long chat with him.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
But I'm stuck on one more. Past or present? You want to be windswept and interesting, don't you? Trying to pull one out the bag.
I know. I'm just thinking, maybe I'm thinking too hard. Maybe I just want to pick people that I really like.
Do you know who's just jumped into my mind?
Yeah?
Muhammad Ali.
Really?
Yeah, I think he would be an incredibly interesting bloke to chat to. Just about, like, his life, what drove him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just... Because you think about what you went through in life and what you achieved. I would quite like to have a chat with him. And especially from my point of view now in the future, ex-old Bill, all that sort of stuff, done some travel. And I would like to chat to him from obviously his experience, maybe the old Bill back in the day. He was conscripted into the army, wasn't he? And then didn't go, so I think...
Was he? I don't know that.
I think it was Vietnam, wasn't it? Was he not conscripted into the army for Vietnam? Or is that right? But
I've got to be honest, I don't know.
He refused to go.
That's true. I need to like look that up.
I think I could be wrong here, and I'm sorry if I am. But in my head, I'm thinking I think he was a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. I think. So I think he obviously faced the authorities head on, and I would just love to chat to him.
No way.
I might have made that entirely up, but that seems to be ringing in my head. So I love those 3. Next, you.
Great choices. Do you know, I'm going to pick Dave Grohl as one.
Oh, man.
I play guitar and drums myself. I'm shit. You know, I'm not, I've played guitar for years. I should be really good. I'm not. But everything that Dave Grohl has been through and all the music he's made, the people he's met, I just think you could kill a few beers off of him. Easy. Man.
Oh, when I've seen interviews of him, what a down-to-earth, decent bloke he seems, doesn't he?
That's it. He comes, again, he's like, he'll just say, like, well, the first Foo Fighters album was just him, and he'll admit, like, look, I found no one that I knew was good enough to be on the album, so I played everything. I'm like, well, fuck, fair play, man.
What a dude.
And now all the stuff he's done, I just think he'd be a cracking person to chat to.
Oh, mate, I'm jealous now. Why didn't I think of Dave Grohl?
It just came into my head. Jimi Hendrix was there as well, but I think even though Jimmy's a incredible, like, you know, icon, I think Dave would offer more to a conversation. Now the last person.
It's a biker. Last one's a biker.
Jesus.
Colin McRae.
Last one's a biker.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, okay, fair play. That helps. And it's anyone that people. It could be someone that's still here now, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
See, you had. I would pick Peter Hickman, but you had him on, and I watched the whole thing, and because I edited the 2018 TT.
All right.
I was one of the editors for it, and I know how mental that was, and he just chatted like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And he's very chilled, and I was like, Jesus, fair play. So I felt like I learned everything there. Maybe Joey Dunlop.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I was thinking
He
Joey
was before
Dunlop.
my time. He's before my time. I've worked with Michael and with William as well before everything that happened with William. I filmed them all. Guy Martin, all the road races. I've done all that stuff. But Joey was just before my time. I think, again, from seeing the documentaries of him, he looks like a really reserved kind of dude.
Intensely private, he seems, doesn't
very family orientated. Rocked up to the track, did his thing. For a bike rider, I think it'd be unbelievably like humbling to just have it, maybe have a coffee with him.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Good
or
call.
Maybe a beer. I don't know.
Good call.
So that was a bloody hard question. My head hurts.
There's a second part.
Oh.
Young E5's asking, if you could have your choice of any two people to be your brawly girl or boy, who would be shining your helmet and kissing you off the line?
Brawly girl. Dude, these questions. Brawly girl.
Or boy, Dario. Or boy. Come on.
Well, I thought we had to pick one of each. Well,
no, it could be two girls, two boys, two people that can't quite decide or don't want to decide. Just tick all those boxes.
No, I've got to pick a brawly girl. I want one of each. Oh, fucking hell. Do you know what? You're going to have to go first, I think.
Right, for me, it's going to be, and I've made no secret about this, it's going to be Noel Best. Do you know the Black Rifle Coffee lads? You ever seen them?
No, I don't.
Right.
Some homework, am I?
Black Rifle Coffee are made up of ex-military veterans and like CIA veterans and stuff. They started, there's two lads, Matt Best and, oh, good God, Ethan. Is it Ethan? Oh, I can't even... I've forgotten his name. There's two chaps that started this coffee company called Black Rifle Coffee, and they're all over YouTube and social media. Matt Best's wife is a lady called Noel Best, and she's beautiful. She's stunning. So she would be one of mine, and the other one would be my wife, Mrs. Teapot.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to say that.
What, my wife? What are you having my wife
no,
for,
my
bro?
wife. Well, I don't know. Good answer. Fair play. There's me thinking... Kelly Brook was coming into my head.
Oh,
Always
God,
been a fan.
Oh, God, yeah.
Always been a fan. What a lovely... even seeing her on TV, she just looks fun.
Yes.
She looks like fun to be around.
Yes, and yes.
So there you go. I'm going to say Kelly Brook. She looks like a right laugh. Lad. Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, just because he's always been... my favourite band. He got me into guitar. I'd love... Yeah, that'd be rad.
Which one was?
Because I'm a big fan.
Which one's he? Tom DeLonge from? Which one's he?
He's the guitarist, and the bassist and guitarist both sang. But Tom DeLonge is. They were the first band that I liked that was punk, that was kind of alternative.
Yeah.
I had my fringe like him back in the day. I got tattoos because he like a lot of the shit he did was very influential on me. And I think that'd be cool.
Cool, man.
I also, like now, I don't know, he's been on Joe Rogan a few times. He's really into like aliens and UFOs and shit. And,
is that him?
And that's him. A lot of people say he's mad. I like to think he's just putting himself out there with his views, and it's more interesting to think that shit's real than just go, no, it's not. It's boring if you just think it's not real.
It just
it's
makes
more fun.
It just makes life so much more exciting, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So like everything he's saying about it, I'm like, dude. I mean, it's not proven yet, but I like the idea of it.
Have you listened to the Rogan podcasts about? There was one guy, I've forgotten his name. There's the guy that worked in Area
51,
50 or 52, whatever it was. The one that actually worked.
Yeah.
He worked on.
Yeah.
A craft.
I've seen it because he's spoken out about it. Hasn't
he has. Yeah.
And like he lost his job and shit.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've seen that one.
Oh, well, I listened to it. I haven't watched the YouTube one. I listened to it, and I told my brother about it. And my brother's 5 years older than me, and he was just looking at me like, "You fucking idiot! Don't be ridiculous."
What are you smoking?
And I said to him, honestly, mate, I was trying to tell him about Joe Rogan, and I said, honestly, I sent him the link, and I said, listen to this, and he watched it. He watched it on YouTube, and he phoned me up the next day, and he went, fucking hell, I haven't slept. I have just been watching like Joe Rogan after Joe Rogan after Joe Rogan after Joe Rogan. And he was just like, holy shit, have you heard about such and such? I'm like, yeah, I saw that one. And such, yeah. You see the one about
they just put it... What's that, sorry?
The pilots that were flying and off the Californian coast, and they actually came like face to face with these craft. Have you?
No, I have not seen that one.
Oh my god!
I will watch that tomorrow though.
Mate, it's phenomenal, and they've got proper radar footage of it. The military has released it because they can't explain this stuff, and the military were just like, we've been seeing this stuff for months, but you know we could never send in anyone there, but they just happened to be nearer at the time.
I just think it's way cooler and more interesting, like you were saying, to just be like, well, maybe that could be true.
Yeah.
And then you get someone that speaks out about it like that, and they might come across as absolutely insane, but to a few of us, we're like, wow, I mean, maybe that is true, and if it is true, that's freaking cool.
My son, because he's doing all freelance stuff, he's just published on his YouTube channel. He's just, and I will put links to this down below because it'll help him out, and he's my son. But
I was going to say I need to see his stuff.
Well, I'll send you a link to this. He's just released this video, a documentary he did. It's like a 90-minute documentary he filmed with this homeless lady in Glasgow called Dee, and she's a poet. She started writing poetry about her experiences on the street, and it's phenomenal. You know, he's my boy, and I'm going to say this, but it's an incredible piece of content. The story he puts across, and this homeless lady who's articulate and thoughtful and kind and considerate, despite telling you the horrific things that she's gone through in life that's put her into that position. You know, and it's got everything. It's got empathy, it's got humour, it's got fear, it's got everything in it. Well, he's now doing one. He's now doing one with this young lass that he's found up there, who says she's been abducted by aliens. And like even my boy's like, I think she's a wee bit mental, Dad. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, see it through, see what you can do.
Stuff like that's interesting.
Yeah.
Whether it's true or not, she's still an interesting person by the sounds of it to try and like portray on film. Yeah. People love looking at that kind of thing. Definitely. So. Yeah, like this lassie Dee, you know, you just think her poetry's. She reads some of it on the street while she's chatting to my boy. Yeah. She reads some of it, and you're like, that's beautiful. You know that should be in a book. Wow. And you're like, oh, if someone could just... How have you ended up here?
Yeah, and you just think, if someone could just... someone in the powers that be could just take hold of her.
Lift you up.
And just give her that one little... She doesn't need to be a millionaire, but just give her that one little break that gives her enough boost to just step... All she wants... She says it in the thing, all she wants is a wee house with a fence outside. That's all she wants, is her own little place. Wow. And you're like, fucking hell, come on, in this day and age.
Makes your heart hurt.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, man.
Dude, that is... Well,
we've been chatting, haven't we?
I've got 2 hours 51 on my camera.
I'm so sorry, everyone. We've been chatting all sorts, haven't we?
Mate, I've loved it. I have absolutely
I've
loved
had a great time.
I feel like I could go on for another
beer
couple...
as well.
Yeah, me and all. I'm done.
I thought I was going to get through everything. That's me last one here.
Good boy. Good lad. Mate, before we call it quits, is there anything you want to chat about? Is there any shout-outs you want to give? Hellos, thank yous, anything?
honestly, just like to you, thank you very much for like having me on, because like I say, it's the first time I've ever been invited onto anything like this, and I've enjoyed it big time. It's nice to talk about the stuff that happens, because everyone always sees the end product and they like it, but there's all that stuff that happens behind the camera. And like you say, there's hours that we could talk about more, but just thank you for having me on, really. And
my pleasure.
If my mum and dad are still watching, yo, Megan, Hallie, and like all my family and friends on the Isle of Man, basically. Yeah, and just thank you again, basically.
Cool.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been my utter pleasure to have you, and I'm really, really thankful for you for agreeing to come on, mate. I've loved it. I really love your work,
awesome.
And I'm over the moon that you came on for a chat. So,
hey, and also TT week next year, we're gonna make some shit. We're gonna make some videos.
Absolutely, mate. You're
I
on.
can't wait, you know.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. If I can get over before, I'll give you a shout.
It's a done deal. If you get over before, we can plan some stuff as well.
Right, let's do it. Honestly, let's do
awesome.
it. Right, I'm up for it.
No, I promise you, I mean it. I'm down.
Spot on. Folks,
Sweet.
I will leave links to Dario's Instagram and socials, and Bloom Creative, his company. I'll leave all that in the show notes for the podcast, and also in the description for the YouTube video. So make sure you check them out, give a follow or subscription. Right, folks, that'll do us for just now. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I really have. By the time you watch this, I'm pretty much imagining we will be out of all of this madness. So look after yourselves. Absolutely. Look after yourselves. Look after those that you love. Get on out there. Do your thing. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha.
Yes.
Dude, I absolutely loved that.